Should broke people have children?
If you're broke, don't even date.
Baba, somebody ring the bell.
You have gone on children. Baby, you have no qualification to handle precious cargo if you're broke.
If your mother didn't have you, this wouldn't be here.
Do you know what it did to my mother to see us 30%, 40% of the time being at home? Do you know the things it did to her? Do you know the kind of confessions she has made to us, whether willingly or unwillingly, about her regrets, including being in that exact situation? If you look at kids as investment, you are poverty thinking, scarcity thinking. Can you imagine? You have thought about your life so much so that you've even disqualified yourself from wealth, and you have now come and said, the only way is let me have these kids, and then these kids will help me.
Let me go ahead and have
The devil is a liar. No, you are the liar. As researched by McKinsey is a management company, argues that 85% of the opportunities in corporate Nairobi are given by relationship. It means then if you're not in that relationship circle, already opportunities are stacked against you.
Really?
While I need to write proposals and I have to get the color correct and I have to spell. You see, when I'm talking about like, we're getting the email right, we are signing at the right time, we're doing all these things, you're branded correctly, you have a website, you have all the shebang. A guy will shake hands and get the deal. Anytime you're in a table where you did not bring value, you best turn behind and look for some baby oil. Because in the case, reputation is like wildfire. James Mwangi, one day I was sitting with James Mwangi, and he told me, Stan, once you lose your reputation, you're like a man who died and they refused to bury him. So everywhere, every room you enter, there's a smell of a corpse. Once, let me tell you, and that's also one of my biggest regrets. If I began to tell you, which I've sat with African press, if I began to tell you the kind of doors I have had, you people, it would be very difficult for you to approach me. It would be very hard for Edwin even to get my number anywhere. You'll get the number 6 PA. Because but I messed my relationships. There are people right now who are charging while they didn't need to charge. We always say, you cannot pay me with exposure and all those things. There's a place to be paid with exposure, and it is okay for you to put in the donkey work. But my first job was shoplifting. So one day, I stole a dictionary from a South Sudanese guy. And this guy is like Form 3 guy. He is pissed until here. Before I could interpret his facial expressions, I was experiencing bodily pain. And all this time they are beating me. I'm on the floor. I'm starting to bleed. I can start, the way you're beat, you start seeing blackouts. I'm like, is this the way I'm going to die?
You can.
Long live the Clanotagwana people. Welcome to another episode of 3 Truths and No Lie. Na leo tunakuingia pale kwa Mukuchu because I do understand that ndio bana unateseka kidogo, but you really do want to have a brighter future. And with us we do have the real estate investor, of course, a growth strategist and man like entrepreneur Stan Agacho. Wagwan daddy, how are you?
You are so good.
Aki wewe.
Like, my goodness, you just say that like you... That's how you woke up.
That's the way you be a real estate investor. Real estate kwa Kiswahili.
Hapo unajua Kalala is in love. She's smitten. She's stumbling over her words.
I'm married.
I'm
married.
For real?
Yeah. It's actually, I got a different, I got a different ring. Of course, 24 gold carat, 32 grams.
Daddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
you actually married?
I'm actually, I don't give married vibes.
No.
I mean,
no way.
I mean, married people have this, they are tired and they look old look. You cannot be married and look this attractive.
No,
that is selfish.
You see this ring?
Yeah.
If a girl sees you with that ring, they're just going to come closer. They're not going to go further.
Is it? You need to meet my wife. You wouldn't come even closer. You wouldn't even think about it.
Is she harsh or is she fine?
She is everything I dreamt of.
Have you met Kalala?
Hey, wake up.
Yeah, she's everything I dreamt of.
Thanks for
my biggest blessing.
For real?
Yes.
Do you have kids?
We are working on it.
Oh.
Yes, yeah, it's very good exercise, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, coming from there.
Thank you.
I mean, you have experience.
Comfortable.
He calls it exercise. So let's jump into it. Tell us about you. Who is a Stan? Where did Stan come from? What is Stan about?
Stan is an envisionment, or should I say the embodiment of the Kenyan dream.
All right.
National infrastructure. My key goal is to raise a generation of millionaires in country.
All right.
Because the system is completely rigged. Becoming wealthy is the easiest thing that you can ever do, or could be the hardest thing that you could ever do. Purely depends on perspective.
Take me through. When you say, did you come from a place where babangu alikuanga tajiri mazali nipea 10 million anze biz? Ama where did you come from? Because I don't think people just walk around and say that becoming wealthy is easy.
Yeah.
Where did you ulianzia wapi?
Alright.
Ulizaliwa wapi?
About the dad, maybe if you have met him, you could tell me about him because I've never seen him. Yeah, so I came from a single parent family.
Absolutely.
We are 7. I've met my dad 5 times. The 5th time I was burying him.
All right.
Yeah. Yes.
And the other times were when?
Well, when?
Once he came over to our place, and it was the most interesting. Let me tell you about this experience. So it is those days where Hello Magazine was the thing, and parents would really buy the Hello Magazine. So we were all congregated in the sitting room.
Okay.
You know, mom is reading and she's interpreting what's happening to the Queen's family, because that used to be the biggest story over there. Then a gentleman walks in. He's about 6'1", very polished, calm.
Yeah.
And I was not used to that type of energy before, because I never thought that not having a dad is a bad thing or a good thing. I didn't notice it until when we went to school. Then I'm like, wait a minute.
Hold up.
Why is it that there's only a mother and other people have a dad? Yeah, so I never quite wrapped my mind around that philosophy, and I'm glad, because sometimes what you don't know can't hurt you.
For sure.
Or
it can kill you. Get
yeah, so
tested.
it depends with what it is. Yeah. So he comes in, sits down, and I'm thinking, who is this? Is this the landlord? And I'm like, this cannot be the landlord, because the landlord is not this polished or dignified.
All right.
I'm wondering, could this be one of my mom's colleagues? But we know that going by the should I say, the topography of the fridge, our mom is not paid well, and consequently,
For sure.
she cannot have such colleagues.
All
This
right.
man is too polished to be one of her colleagues. So I'm wondering, and he's looking at me also wondering, and I'm thinking in his mind, he's asking himself, who are these kids?
Yeah.
Right? I don't think I know them. Actually, what happens next will shock you. He leans forward and asks me, what's your name?
Wow, okay. This is your dad.
This is my dad. He's asking
Alright.
me, what's your name?
Wait, because he
And
forgot what
I
he
was a
named
bit
you, or-
I was a bit confused there, because I'm wondering, okay, fine, you are my dad. How don't you know who I am, right? And it was one of the most surreal experiences, but I didn't have the context to interpret it. You see that?
At that moment in
Yeah.
time, it was a stranger asking you what's
It was
your
a
name.
stranger asking me basically what was my name. Yeah. The second time was at a time when I think they had come to. So what happened is, hey, this life. So there is a cousin of his who was imprisoned for the longest time. And those days, what would happen is when you come from prison, you'd come back with HIV/AIDS.
Okay.
Like clockwork,
Yeah.
right?
Guaranteed.
So
In Kenya?
early days, early years.
This is 90s, 80s.
This could be maybe 98, 99. There.
All right. Yeah.
That's the time the pandemic was a bit.
epidemic was out.
Yeah. So he had brought this cousin of ours to our house because cousin of his actually to our house because they didn't like to stay with him. So he came to drop him. So I didn't quite see him. I just saw, okay, that's the person they call me. Yeah, that's my dad, and he's come to drop this cousin of us. That's the second time. The third and the fourth the third I can't remember. Let me tell you the fourth. The fourth, we were living in Imara Daima, Mombasa Road, right? And so this day I'm going to the supermarket. As I go to the supermarket, I meet a man there. He's buying 5 beers, right? Then I look at him and I'm like, you know, you're my dad, right? And he looks at me and he's like, yeah, I know I'm your dad, but we don't want to have that conversation here. So he says hello. And just goes.
Are you serious?
I'm telling you.
You had his number?
Yeah.
Or...
No, those days were for numbers.
Oh, okay.
This was, I think, 202. I was in class 8, yeah. 202.
Ulikuwa class 8 202. It was like 4 years, baba. It was
No
like
way.
4 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah, mimi ni mtoto just a
We
baby.
should be mentoring you right now.
Wow. Wow. Keep going.
Yeah, so yeah, he says hello and he goes, right? So I later found out that he had come to visit. So in that estate, one of my biggest sisters was living in her own house with her family and her kids. So he had come to visit them, and we just happened to meet this supermarket, but he didn't come to see us, right? Yeah. So the 5th time is when I was called that your dad is dead, and we don't know what to do. Now, to give you context, me, I'm not like the firstborn. I'm number 6 in our family.
Okay.
Like, I was just like...
Second last.
Yeah, I'm like, what's happening? But I've been accused of being overly optimistic.
Right.
So me, I was like, wow, this is the biggest honor of my life. Until I went and shared that honor with my mom, and she was not amused. She was completely capital P for pissed. And for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, for obvious reasons. And when I told my mom that I'm taking it upon myself to bury my dad now, for Kikuyus, who my wife, who burial is nothing. But for Luo's baby, burial is a whole ceremony.
It's an entire
Yeah,
thing.
it's a whole thing. Yeah, from the 2 weeks.
The disco matanga.
Yeah, to the disco matanga.
The person is not yet buried. Right?
No. Are you throwing the body? So we have to bond with the body. That's Luo culture. That's Luo culture. There's even something called teroburu. You know what teroburu is?
No.
So, case in point, if by good luck you had the privilege of marrying me now, for instance, and then now I pass, okay, what happens is that the day, if I'm being buried on a Saturday, the Friday, my body has to be in our house, preferably in our room with you. Luo culture, teroburu. So the body has to spend one night, the last night you have to spend in your matrimonial house with your wife, then you get buried, right? So nowadays is a big
With only your wife there.
Of course, the other people in the sitting room, right? Fake crying. You know what fake crying? Do you guys have fake crying?
No.
Fake crying is, is the tea ready? And that meat has taken long. So usually what happens is that guys will come to the matanga because it is finally some economic breather.
Yeah.
The asshole is hard everywhere. So a guy's like, finally 3-4 days, my family and I, we can eat free food. Yeah, so now it's been dialed down, but you can still see in Luo culture that if you're being buried tomorrow, still today, the body has to come home and spend the night there. It's not as drastic as it was before, but that's what happens. So burial is such an elaborate thing, both economically, emotionally. It's very, very draining.
So you're Luo?
Yes,
it's Luo.
Yeah. I'm deeply Luo and proud, right? By the way, did you know that Luo is the only community in Africa that has become the president of the United States of America? Like, it's not an easy thing to...
Jesus
even by
Christ.
probability, it's very difficult to do.
Wow.
You understand
Baba,
But you know you guys are big, right?
Take your mouth out of the
Do you understand probability mathematics? Yeah? Like, we are the blessing of this country.
Wow.
Can I give an interesting statistic? Have you checked the amount of research that Luo academicians has churned out?
No, but
Do you know
I
the
mean,
number?
wajaka
What's the number?
nimerefu,
Do you
si
read
ati-
research?
No.
Do you read research?
What's the number?
But do you read research?
No, not like
So you wouldn't know if I told
Yes,
you.
yes.
No, but wait, believe you though. So what is the number?
Let's just agree that it's a high number.
No,
You've done the research. What is the number?
Put
yourself out there.
They want to know. Yes.
So mom looks at me and mom says, I can't believe you want to betray me
Did
like
you just
this.
do that? Did you just do that?
This is what mom
No,
says.
because did you just do that?
Yeah, so
How
mom says.
many- Oh my
God.
So mom says, I can't believe you have betrayed me like this. And the context of the conversation was, I was supposed to by some, should I say, assumption, understand her pain and align with her positioning. But this was a young man who was just happy that I'm finally being involved with my dad's life.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm talking about?
even if
So I didn't think about the economics of it at all. Right? And then, so we went ahead and did the thing. Meanwhile, ladies, in between the 2 weeks, for some reason, my mom was convinced that this is her husband and she wants to bury her husband. And she said, let's go and bury your father. Yeah, and it was a very interesting experience.
I understand the ladies that you just... It makes sense. It
Your
makes
mother
sense.
had one your mother only, or he had other?
It is difficult to tell. Yeah,
So on the barrier, who
I
did you
wouldn't
meet?
know. So it's very mysterious. Everything is shrouded in mysteries and hash tones, and nobody wants to really say exactly what happened. But you see, my dad now, when we went to bury him in his home compound, as is the culture of many Luo people, the guys there say that he refused to live in the homestead. He was living in the town center because he needs electricity and he had a home system surround. That's the only thing I actually inherited. He had a surround system. So he was like, me, I'm an educated man. My dad had 5 degrees. Actually, let me tell you an interesting story. So after the burial, now people are going home, right? Then one of my uncles is about 5'6", very dark man, but deep voice, extremely animated, big belly like this, like he's pregnant,
Oh, wow.
He's running. He says, hey, Stan, here's the inheritance. I'm like, okay. So there's a speaker, you know those speakers where you have a subwoofer and 2 tiny speakers? A briefcase. I say, okay, fine. I take it out of respect for the dead. Yeah, because I thought inheritance was cash in the bank.
You didn't think it was title deeds or things like you never thought of.
For where? Boss, wealth can be seen. Anyway. So after a while, I'm in Nairobi and one day I'm bored and I'm like, okay, fine, what's in this briefcase? I lift the briefcase, shake the dust off, and the dust has testimony of struggle and poverty. Then I open the briefcase and I see oxidized, very well arranged papers, which I don't want to get into it, but there's one paper that I found that was very interesting, that Makerere University wrote to my dad and told him that there are no more degrees to offer you. Can you imagine that a man was in school that they told him there's no more courses for you at this time? So my dad had 5 degrees. He was very, very learned man.
He said it's
So
from
you come
Uganda.
No, he's Kenyan, but he studied in Makerere University.
Yeah, that's in Uganda.
Yes, they are in Tinda, yeah?
It's Makerere.
Yeah, but
they call it Makerere.
Makerere University, but the location is that in Tinda?
No, they call it Makerere. Actually, it's Makerere,
the place is called
area.
Makerere,
It's one day. That's
So you come from
one day gay, yes, one day gay market.
you come from privilege, ndio?
0 for 0.
What do you mean? Degree tano
let me tell you, just few years ago, I couldn't spell privilege.
I think before we go into that,
I couldn't spell
before we
it.
go into that, I'd like us to, because we usually have this thing here where we talk about our truths, right?
Okay.
So of course, it's 3 truths, no lie.
Okay.
Since you're here, there's 4 truths.
Yeah.
So we'd want you to say your truth first.
Yeah.
And then we'll say ours, and then now we'll go into
Fantastic.
your lack of privilege.
Okay, so my truth is that I'm national infrastructure. That's my truth.
Baby girl?
Kalala and Frank, you'd make a nice couple.
Wow.
Yo.
That's my truth.
Entrepreneurship needs resilience and persistence and adaptability.
Oof, that is so deep.
Being a billionaire is a mindset.
No lie.
No lie. Unateseka jueni
There's a
fala.
lie there.
Unateseka jueni fala.
I'm very curious. You said they would make a good couple.
Yeah.
What time do you have to think about that?
In
Like what
the,
goes through in your mind? What goes through in your mind until you're thinking about who should date who?
no, because we have had conversations,
Yeah,
so
okay.
you can see chemistry when you see it.
Okay. So you sit in the house and you're like, okay, fine. They did this, they did
No,
that.
it's like when I'm having a conversation with you, it's like if I see you talking to, let me say, a man, and I feel like, hey, these guys would make very nice business partners because I see your energies in that sector. So
I see what you're saying.
You see a bond.
I see a bond. I see
Right.
a connection that for you who's in the conversation, you may not see it. But us who are outside, we can actually see that if these guys can connect in this angle, then they can actually
But
work
could
something.
that be a deflection? Because sometimes we utter those things that we desire the most.
Oh, maybe.
No.
Are you deflecting that? Open up your heart, baby.
This is your time. This is your time. Frank, this is your time.
I'm in a very happy relationship.
Plus, also, he has a very good track record of
You know?
fertility.
Girl.
I don't know what you're trying to
You should see the look on your face, Mama. You're not saying no.
No, actually, I'm in a very happy, contented relationship. Thank you.
Okay.
Happy and
I can
contented
ruin
can't be
it for you,
together.
don't worry.
So let's get back to you, Mr. Sana. So tell us about how you had no privilege, 0 for 0 privilege.
Yeah. Okay, so the thing is, so it's one thing not to have privilege and know it. It's another not to have privilege and keep discovering slowly that you don't have privilege. Okay, for instance, we are seated at the prize giving day and the room is full. Right? And we are about to be honored and be celebrated. I'm seated over there. My mom is seated over here. And this is the day finally to show them that we are very good in books.
Baba.
And the room is full. And then what happens is everybody is silent. People are talking, festivities, and they're about to read the list. I think I was in class 7 at that time. They're about now to read the list of the guys who are going to be awarded. Right?
Yeah.
And then they say, shh. So everybody's quiet. So I'm looking around. I'm like, why are we quiet? I can't believe you guys, life is already hard. You want to steal prize giving day. I hope nobody wants to cancel this prize giving day. Because I was those guys of the education is the escape. Then I see somebody walking in with 3 bouncers. And then they come, start here. Somebody points my mom, says, you, back there. You, sit. Okay. Then we go to the back of the room. Now there are no seats. You see, there are no seats. So what happens? You have to be out of the room. And I'm like, so it took me a while to understand that what was at play was wealth and privilege. Yeah. That a room is full only because a privileged man has not entered. Right? That, for instance, like you can be told that this place is full.
For sure.
But if a rich man comes,
there is
space very quickly. Yeah. So as a broke guy, you cough. What do they say? Ebola. Get away from me. When a rich man coughs, oh sir, can we help you? Do you need some water? Do you need a hug?
Grab a blanket.
So everybody, I'm like, wait a minute. So there's different levels of treatment. Okay, I'm fine. No problem. So that was one. As I'm beginning to think, okay, fine. So sitting positions are purely depending on the kind of wealth you have and so on. Okay, fine, no problem. One day, there's a friend of mine called Edward Mwangi. I'm sure he'll watch this. He's now a big Shell guy. And Edward Mwangi is the son of Matunda stores. You guys wouldn't know them. You're a bit too young. Maybe he would know them. He's all like a big, Eldoret Express bus.
Oh yes,
I know that.
Eldoret Express bus, yeah? Yeah, you would know, right?
Why? Because I live in Eldoret. Okay, that's a movie.
So Eldoret Express, the son, so the competitor was called Matunda buses. So this was the son of this guy. So once in a while, we'd be removed from the backside of the desert and we'd have the privilege to go and visit him because I had some skill in mathematics. So the cover was, the mask was, I've come to tutor you, right? So one day now he says, let's not do it in school. Let's go to our house. So we go there. It was like, we met at like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. So we reached 9 a.m. and they're serving breakfast. And I'm looking at the breakfast and I'm like, this looks like dinner and lunch on a Christmas day. Yeah. How is this breakfast? And then before, like where I'm coming from, you see Bouvet, you dive in. You even want to stack some in. Like you're like, can I carry? You know that. But here, nobody's even touching anything. So I'm wondering, is there like a trick? Am I being tested? Right? So there were several such instances when I started beginning to realize that there's a very, should I say, wide demarcation between what privilege is and what privilege is not. But what I celebrate the most is that I didn't have the burden of definition. So nobody told me that being poor is bad, you see, or that you don't have this elaborate breakfast is bad, or that you don't have power. Like, us, whenever I used to have power, you would return it, they cut it again. There's a time it was so bad. I love my mom. My mom is crazy. So the KPLC guy comes and says, we are now going to take you to court. You're going to pay fines, etc. His eyes are like this. Then my mom says, KPLC is not your mother's company. You're not even an owner. In fact, where you live is below where we are living. The man was pissed. Went and disconnected the power from the main switch where that cable enters. He went and removed it from there. Like, so we didn't have power like for something like 7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
Power, yes.
Maybe talking about like 2 weeks.
And I am not even playing. I'm not even joking. So when I talk about but nobody told me that that's a disadvantage. So because I didn't have the burden of definition, for me it was more time to read, more time to meditate, more time to do everything else.
Wait, you were in school by that time?
Yeah, in school.
So in school they would not, you would not find electricity and be like, oh my God, this is better than home because there's
of course
electricity
you see, you don't have power because it's been cut. But nobody told me that having power cut is a bad thing
Yeah,
that
it's
should
a-
now
yeah,
make
you
you
need
sad.
to- yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Should affect your emotions,
Yeah,
yeah.
it didn't get to me in that way.
Right.
And sometimes the challenge that we're facing in our generation currently here is that definition is so much. For instance,
Yeah.
I can start asking you very deep questions about your purpose, right?
Try me.
But before, okay, but before I get so far, what will you say? You are gaslighting me.
Oh.
You are manipulating me, right? So it's very, should I say, disadvantageous. So you're on the back foot because of the definitions you carry.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm trying to communicate.
But I hear you and understand where you're coming from. But it's not a definition. It's like if you're here and you've been eating portion beans every single day, and then you have 4 hours in a day where you go somewhere else and you're eating chicken and chips. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just your taste buds to make you aware that the chicken and chips are actually better than the portion beans. It's not someone who's going to tell you, hey, the portion beans are bad. You get what I'm trying to say? It's what you're going to, at the end of it, what's going to taste better in your mouth. So unless you just say you are just comfortable with not
You're
having
contented.
you are contented.
Yeah.
But saying you didn't, the definition was not that you knew. You actually knew that electricity is at school, this is necessary for this, but you at home you are okay with not having, you're comfortable with not having it.
I see. Like the arguments you make are brilliant. I completely love. I would even kiss you on the forehead right now if I was not married. And they make a lot of sense to the untrained ear. But if you listen to it carefully, you'll realize one thing, that the only reason why you're speaking like that is because you have the advantage of choice. The problem of arrogance, the problem of poverty is that the arrogance of poverty is such that you don't have the privilege and or, should I say, latitude to have tastes and preferences.
But you can still
anything
admire.
that comes, anything,
Tradition.
can I tell you, boss, one of the things we used to do, like, and we never thought it was a bad thing. Like we actually, that place was called Guest House, Section 19, Kitale. You can fact check me on this, right? We used to eat off the dustbin. Like we'd wait for guys to, I did that even here in Nairobi. Like me, I came to Nairobi. The hustle is hard. What do you do? Sonfords. I just go and wait for you to finish eating. Whatever remains there, I eat. Without a care in the world.
I actually understand where you're coming from because this is what we used to.
Yeah.
But if you have the opportunity to become a billionaire, you'll start looking at it and thinking, you know what? I used to like struggle a lot back in the day.
Okay, I mean,
Because now you're in that mindset.
my perspective is this, as kids, we have to understand that our minds are plain. Sawa, as in kichwa yako haina shit. Everything that you know, uliambiwa ama uliona ama ulisikia. Alright? So when you're at school and there's someone with a better pencil and a better pen than you, or they have you have to share a textbook or borrow, but then someone has mathematics, English.
But I
really,
don't believe-
does that not raise a
Exactly.
kwani mbona si
But I don't
hatuna?
believe the
It's a
contrast
human
was that
feeling.
huge from home to school. Was the contrast that big?
So interestingly, again, every desert has an oasis.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happened is that my mom, because of her training, she was teaching at Kitale Academy.
All right.
And consequently, we had the advantage to be in Kitale Academy, but not pay the Kitale Academy school fees
yeah.
because she's a teacher there,
Yeah.
and we can go to
Mimi
the
najaribu
school.
kukutetea na umenitoa ndani ya shimo tena.
But I have a very strong point. The strong point is I didn't have an I am honestly telling you guys, I did not have an interpretation to it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because what happens is the emotional postulation, the positioning of your emotions is purely based on your definitions. You see that?
Yeah.
So why something triggers you is because of how you have defined it.
Yeah.
How
That's
you
what
have
it is.
been raised.
the
Your
way
mother
it's playing in your
did
head.
to raise you. Like I feel like right now it's not the definition because you knew what was at school. You knew your friends had a better. They had the books that you didn't have. They had this, but the way your mom made you content of the situation you are in, that you felt you didn't feel a need to be them, to be anyone else except you, and that doesn't come in definition. It comes with actually being raised well. It's a very different.
Are you a mother?
No,
You'd make
I'm
a good
25.
mother. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
She's Ugandan.
Long story short.
You'd really but the word you've used, better,
Yeah.
could be misleading. Because what's better? What
Yeah.
does better mean?
It's varies in.
Yeah, what's better? Yeah, it's
How
a
does
purely
better look
it's
like?
a purely perspective play.
Yeah,
So when you
perspective play.
argue better, I don't see it in that way, because what's better, eating and not eating.
And someone can argue that for you had it better because you didn't have it in your head that people are actually having it better. You get now for someone who has it in their head.
Yeah.
For someone who has it in their head that's, oh my God, mommy, how comes me I'm not getting the books that others are getting? Is actually suffering more than
you. Who doesn't know?
100%.
Yes, who is content.
So let me ask you.
It's called the ecstasy of ignorance.
Baba,
Yeah.
punguza Kiingereza jamani. So let me
I
ask
couldn't
you.
spell ecstasy. I just learned it.
Wow. So tell me, what was your first job?
What was my first job? It's a long story. So I've never really been technically employed in that regard.
All right.
Yeah, but my first job was shoplifting.
Bombo class. Nobody ever tells the
Great
truth.
profession.
I'm a thief. You started from thieving.
You people are exposing me.
Yours
You're
not
exposing
mine. And so after that now.
And that went until like when I was like Form 1. I hope my people never watch this.
They will.
Yeah, it went,
Catch us on all Glitch African streaming platforms.
it went on until I think like Form 1 or something like that.
Okay.
And then in Form 1, me, I performed so well.
Never been arrested during that
I'm
situation?
coming. I've never been.
How many times?
How many times? Right? Yeah. So and so now what happens is that, what was I talking about, Kalala?
Baba, I'm not
your
okay.
first job.
First job. Yes. There you go. So what happens is I go to, but if you look at the stuff I was stealing, it's not stuff that a thief would steal. You see what I'm talking about? So the stuff you were talking about, I was in Our Lady of Mercy. South B, towards the latter part of my primary school.
Yeah.
So that stuff now started coming to me. So what I'd do, I'd go and steal the stuff that the rich kids have.
Yeah.
So that's the Stedler rubber.
The Oxford sets.
The Oxfords. Oh my goodness.
That shit was gold.
Yo, that is like iPhone 20 in right now.
You know?
Yeah. So I steal the stuff that the rich kids have, so that I'm now the guy in class with them and then trade them.
For money.
Yeah, favors. Like
But that's entrepreneurship. That's not stealing.
That is entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's not stealing.
No, but what are
You're
you
sourcing
saying?
capital from them.
But she sold them to source the capital.
Long story short, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So then crossed over into Form 1, did well in my primary schools, was called actually to Hospital Hill. I go to Hospital Hill. So one of the things that my mom either intentionally or inadvertently trained us was to have a larger than life perspective. So I go to Hospital Hill. I'm like, this school is beneath me. I can never come to this school.
Bombo class.
I didn't even know that was a proper school.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just like, look at this green uniform. Who wants this stupid green uniform? Okay. So we go back to Ibaradaima. So the schools that I've been called to, which was Upper Hill and Hospital Hill, I'm not going to them. But meanwhile, my weed head friends are now telling me, come to our school. I'm like, that is the best decision. Let me do it. I mean, how did you guys come up with such a brilliant idea?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Right? So I go to a school in Ruiru that has since been bought by the university. And so we are in that life of weed and running away from school and so on. And the problem is, I should have seen the red flag from the get-go. It's a mixed boarding school. I don't even know what I was thinking about. I'm like, that should have been screaming loud, like, this
recipe
is
for disaster. Yeah.
Then now we continue with the thuggery, and one day I stole I stole an ox. So what do? You steal throughout the term. You have a safe where you put the spoil, so that the day you're going home, you go and sell the merchandise, right? So that's Oxford.
To those people who sell them like on the streets.
On the streets. Where do they come from? Ask yourself, how do you have a brand new Oxford dictionary at that price?
Na umetoa pi.
Sasa you are waiting from once you harvest, it's harvesting. Yeah, like you properly harvesting, you can't imagine. Now what happens then? You have the stock, you go sell. So one day, I stole a dictionary from a South Sudanese guy. And I don't know who snitched. Somebody snitched.
Yeah.
Right? So I see this guy was called Boyang. Boyang comes. His face is red.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is when I was younger, I didn't have, my body frame was not as it is today. And this guy is like Form 3 guy. He is pissed until here. before I could interpret his facial expressions, I was experiencing bodily pain. It was, and this, there's no time that could be able to capture that experience. And then I'm like, okay, fine, it's not so bad. I'm used to difficulty.
Yeah.
He'll finish pounding me and then I'll go get better.
Yeah.
Then the other Sudanese guys choke.
The whole gang with it.
Let me tell you. And all this time they are beating me. I'm on the floor. I'm starting to bleed. I can start, the way you're beat, you start seeing blackouts. I'm like, is this the way I'm going to die?
You can taste copper, that blood.
How did you know?
I know that taste.
Yeah,
I fought a lot.
it's the same thing when you're doing squats.
Yes.
Same thing. Yeah. And so all of a sudden I'm like, I am not going, not me. I'm not dying today.
Fuck it, not Satan.
today.
Yeah.
So I just muscle all the strength I have. Smama and run as fast as I could.
Yeah.
Where do I run to? The deputy principal's office. I'm like, these people are beating me. These people are beating me. You know what he says? He says, you want them to beat me too? Get out of my office. Yo. I'm like, boss.
Mwalimu, please.
Yeah, nilikuja. I thought there's help over here. What's happening? Yeah. So I ran out of the school. I literally ran out of the school. Then get better, come back, and there's that tension and so on. But I didn't stop. I just didn't stop, right? So I knew,
You kept going.
Yeah, I knew stuff was getting serious. So one day there was this friend of mine who's called, let me call it, he had an M name, yeah, He's those guys who will come and, like, I used to sit in class, I'm like, how did I ever end up with people like this?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, you guys, you are the jokers for jokers. But the fun fact, I topped that class all my life without you don't even need to read. Because me, I had like 397. Those days we were doing out of 500, yeah? That's like an A minus. These guys, the second guy for me was like 290. So we're thugging. So one day, there used to be a club called Nyanza. I don't know if you guys remember. You wouldn't know.
Wow.
Maybe you would.
No.
Okay, so there used to be this thing called F2. You remember F2?
Yeah.
F2. Yeah, so F2 was for the privileged guys. And then Nyanza was for the non-privileged guys.
Yeah.
So this day we're in Nyanza. They only play roots music, which I never enjoyed. It's some very deep reggae that inspires wisdom. Because these guys, when they're listening to that reggae, the things they say, they even say and pause. They're like, receive wisdom. You know?
Yeah.
Enjoy your kids.
I miss spendi reggae for shit about atisikiza message.
But then you look like you.
No,
like,
Baba, let me ask you, what's so good about a
Nyanza
song
should
that
be
says,
there.
fuck you, wish you.
Yeah. So Mararo comes out, calls me, calls a friend of mine called Mike, calls his big brother, calls ED. Let me give you, fast forward, 2 of those guys had died. They were mob justice there. He removes a piece. He says, we've been playing small leagues for too long. The things nimesema hapa akia mama.
Sema tu twende kwao. It's a safe space.
We've been playing. I've never, even my wife doesn't know this story. Anyway.
She'll know today.
Yeah. So you guys, you have like a truth serum here. What did you give me?
It's the 3 truths.
We also went through it, don't worry.
Yeah. So he shows me a piece. And he says, it's time for us to go big league. We've been playing small for too long. Let me tell you, the problem is I'm a very creative person. I could even see my burial date and even who came to the funeral and what they said. I saw, like, all of a sudden, there was a very stark realization that the path I'm on is wrong, which I always knew. Yeah. But I never felt it.
Until that day.
Yeah, many times when you are mentoring, I'm big on mentorship. Don't. Doesn't. Because everybody who's doing whatever they're doing, they know what they're doing. Yeah. See, they know exactly what they're doing. Yeah. The only time they'll turn around is once they're able to attach emotion to what they're doing and the consequence of it. Yeah. So from that day, I'm just like, you know what, let guys abuse me, but me, I'm not about this. I'm not going. I'm like, yeah, nilikuwa nimesema, tuna joke. I thought we were just joking. Like, you guys, you're actually serious.
I'm doing jokes.
Like, you're actually thugs. For me, in my head, all this while, I'm like, I'm probably going to be the president of this country. I'm just fitting in with you guys.
You know peer pressure.
Plus, also, I don't mind that I can sell the stuff and get some money. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm above this life. Like, I'm so ahead of it. I'm running circles around you guys. I don't even know I'm in your company, right? And the interesting thing is, they're the ones who influenced me. Do you know the first time I took weed?
Them.
We were seated one day. This guy was called ED, passed mob justice because of phone tagging. And he tells me, today, you must experience the wisdom from the Holy Herb.
Hello.
It is the way they package it.
So beautifully.
Yeah. I'm
From the
like,
Holy Herb.
What Holy? I've never had anything like that. Then he says, Kush. You don't know Kush? And then I'm like, okay, what's that? Then he says, have you heard that song that says, pass the Kush to the left?
It's a monkey.
Goodness.
Then I ask, why the left hand? Because I'm such a creative. Then he just shut up, take weed. I take weed, boss. Do you know, within 1 hour, I was collecting rent in Imara Daima. Like I went and nagonga mlango nasema nimekuja kuchukua rent, nishakuwa landlord. Yeah. Where are you guys? The crib. It was crazy for crazy. Yeah, but so that was like my turning point in that regard. And then, basically that was the turning point.
Okay.
That at least from the thuggish life.
All right.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, this thug life is not. I used to even I had a song called Thug Life.
So your friend did not get angry in a way that could hurt you.
Wait.
No, you gotta be strategic.
Wait.
Goja.
Just perusing over that.
Yeah.
You have a song called Thug.
Yeah, imagine.
As they don't believe
I
you.
promise you, not recorded. Yeah, but I actually went and recorded it, but it was never released.
Give me a verse.
I give you a wewe piga mayo we brother wacha kuzuba masela unatua ndani kila nukta kila saa. Don't get me started.
Baba.
Don't get me started.
Hey. Tupac
Yeah,
Shakur. So there's a video here that you speak on the price of luxury. Yeah, I think I want pretty much everyone to have a listen to it first of all. You speak very passionately about a conversation that's
huge TVs in Umoja. I'm like, boss, you don't need this TV right now. Right now, I remember, I think the first time I had a TV in my house was now when I got to Kigali shop. All this is the time in my sitting room, you'd come to my sitting room, you find a library. Because you need to work on your mind. That's what you need. You don't need distractions on early days. You have not yet afforded luxury. Now the problem of affording is what? People think that I afford luxury because I can pay for it. No, that's not how you look at it.
Let's go. We start from that situation with do not buy a TV, get books.
100%.
Have a library. You had a whole library.
Let me tell you, I'm not even kidding. Like I actually had books because the books were my escape.
So what was the thinking behind this?
I'll tell you. Yeah. So the reason why I was speaking like that, the people who I'm speaking to, I call it the coalition of the willing. So if you don't want to listen, you stay with your brokers. But I'm telling you what worked for me. For you, it's strategy. For me, it was discovery. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It was discovery. So what would happen is you come to the house, right? And what is in your mind? I've not paid rent.
Yeah.
Yeah, where is the next hustle going to come from? Right? By the way, have you ever lived in a slum?
No.
Has anybody ever lived in a slum here?
You
wouldn't know, right? So Umoja is even an upgrade. And Umoja was my hood, so nobody can tell me anything about Umoja.
Yeah.
And I've left the hood. Baby, I've left there, I can go and buy the hood right now.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? So I must have something to say because they must have been something that I got right. So hindsight is 2020. The thing about books is this. When you are reading the books, you have zero limitations. Do you realize once you immerse yourself, you are literally in George Bush's world.
Yeah.
You are in Elon Musk's world. You are in Stevie R. Covey's world. You can become anybody through books. And what begins to happen is you realize very quickly how fast you run is purely dependent on what's chasing you.
For sure.
Yeah, you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So the arrogance and pain of poverty was not giving me a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
And consequently, I had to use everything that I can. So one day, one of my mentors said that if you read books, you'll think better. If you can think better, you'll move faster. If you can move faster, you'll make money. You'll make what? Money. I'm going to start reading books. So I was now indoctrinating myself with this wisdom. Again, think of it this way. Do you realize by the time somebody is writing the book, you are interacting with them at their highest level of thought and intelligence?
For sure.
Because what happens is somebody will go to write.
Yeah.
They scrap it off. They write again. They scrap it off. They research. They do all that. Then give it to you and tells you these are the 7 traits of highly effective people. So you want to tell me you'll choose TV over highly effective people? 1,000 times no. Interesting fact. Right now, the biggest collateral in banks, it was in the papers yesterday, is what? TVs and fridges. Now, let me ask you a question. How do the rich borrow? Do they borrow with TV and fridges? 1,000 times no. They have better assets. So who's borrowing with TV and assets? You made my point, baby.
We buy second
We are
hand.
the ones who, so it is us who are in the hustle who is borrowing against household goods. And it's because the system has been rigged against us. You wake up in the morning and it's buy.
Yeah.
You never think about ownership. You
Correct.
never think about selling. You wake up in the morning, all you want to do is buy. When you're sad, what do? You buy.
Of
When
course.
you're happy, what do?
Buy.
You buy. When you're having a chick, what do? You buy.
For
You
sure.
are always buying. You've become a buyer, never thinking about
Selling.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Are these ideologies something that defines you as a person ama ni umaskini imekufanya hivi?
So let me ask you a question, Kalala. If today I told you that all you need to do is to come here dressed the way you are, and every day if you can increase the length of your skirt by an inch, for exactly 7 days you're out of the hustle. That's number one. Let me give you a second one. Then I say, but when you come here and you do the dress thing and you are talking too much, then it will take you 14 days. Okay? But there's a way that it will take you 3 days. If you come here,
Fucking silent.
long skirt, not talking, the skirt has to be white. What do you do?
Not talking, long skirt, color white.
Precisely. So the idea is that there are certain conditions that give birth to certain things.
I hear you.
A pregnant woman will tell you that her environment is very important. From the day she got pregnant, he would know. From the day you got pregnant, they got pregnant. To the day they went to the first check. And all that journey is serious. Trimester 1, trimester 2, trimester, different conditions, different everything. But it even gets crazier. That on the day they're about to deliver the baby, even the people in the room are vetted. There are people you don't want in the room when you're giving birth. That's what
It's
it is.
usually actually the father of the child that is allowed to
Sometimes they don't want the color either.
You know, Juendo Limpembe, then who made me this way. You're not understanding what I'm trying to get out of you.
Let me learn this point.
Okay.
So the point is that there's an environment that crystallizes success,
all right.
or there's an environment that crystallizes breakthrough. So as a person who's interested, okay, let me give you an easy example.
Right.
If you're planting maize, you cannot behave like somebody who's planting bananas. Because they're different. Bananas is very hardy. There's one stubborn banana thing on my mom's compound. I cut it, it comes back. I cut it, it comes back. Cut maize once, we see. Gets worse. You forget cutting. Touch a rose flower badly. Baby, you corrupted it. So depending on your output, you must align with the methodology.
Right.
And that's now the true definition of intelligence. Intelligence is the ability to adjust yourself to achieve your objectives at will.
Yeah.
So consequently, I argue that there's nothing like personalities. You take the personality that advances your objectives. So you have to be strategically selfish in how you're carrying yourself. So for instance, if I came today to Safaricom and they told us that people with 5 master's degrees have a higher chance of being the MD more than those ones who don't, which is not, I've just made that thing up, right? I will immediately start thinking, okay, master's degree, which one? How can I get into that program? Because I'm all about improving my chances.
Yeah.
There are no guarantees in life, for sure, right? But you can increase the possibility of your outcome. You see? And that there is a very big key. Because you're either doing 2 things. You are either midwifing your destiny or you are assassinating your destiny. Not both. Yeah.
So
is the TV the issue or what you're consuming on the TV?
I feel like, my question here is, because what you've explained really clarifies what I wanted to ask majorly. But then there's also that point of, because if you're talking from experience, your father, may he so rest in peace, had how many degrees?
5.
How many books did you used to read?
All of them.
I wouldn't know, maybe you know. I've never met him.
So, but
met him 5 times.
there are some levels of degrees you can't get if you don't read. For you to get to the level he was at, he has to have read a lot of books. But the thing that makes you stand out from him is not just the books. Yes, the books are there. Yes, like you said, it's a stepping stone. It increases your probability. But you should also know that there is that what you've just mentioned, the intelligence of knowing that you have to adjust in whatever situation you're in to make sure it works. You shoplifting at that age was you being intelligent, if you knew that. That is you actually making a way for yourself. So those books are not why you're here. You made a way using those books. Do you get what I'm trying to say? There are people going to read out there and actually still read forever until time kaput. They're gone and they have not become billionaires or millionaires like you. You get, or you have invested. It's because this video shows you saying, if you read the books, there's increase the probability. What you've just said right now should be what you have said. What should you have said in that video?
But you see, Bebe, I'm a master communicator. I need to pull you in. I need to capture your attention. That is why it trended. It trended intentionally. So if you listen to the essence of it, but there are deeper truths to this thing, and all of them are subjective, so you can't even challenge them. Right? Think of it this way: what do you see on TV? You see the past. I hope you know I'm factually true.
For sure.
Yeah.
Apart from live streams.
Yeah. How do you walk forward while looking behind? That's number one. Number two, what do you see on TV?
Podcasts.
That's the thing. If you're watching documentaries,
those days, who was watching podcasts?
Oh, you're
on
talking
TV?
about back
in the day.
You know how it would.
Baby, right now I'm enjoying my 100-inch TV properly all the
okay.
time. I can binge. I can afford to binge. I can afford to binge watch. My mentees can't, and they cannot behave like they're on top of the mountain, yet they're at the base. The different when you summit and when you're starting, those are very different dynamics. And there's a certain way. So let me give you this story. One day we went to do what? To trek Mount Kilimanjaro. It's a 6-day trek. It's one of the toughest things I've ever done. But what I took from that experience was the kind of training and insight that the guides would give us even before we ever started, even before we took a flight to go to Kilimanjaro Airport, right? The amount of information. For instance, one of the things they told us is that physical fitness is a big part of climbing the mountain, but is the least important.
Yes.
For instance. The second one is your diet is going to play a very big role because you don't want to have a running stomach in the mountain.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you really don't want to have a running stomach in the mountain. Okay? All right, fine. Here's another one. They told us that your current activity level today is supported by some biology there. Talking about the amount of oxygenated red cells you have.
Yes.
And you have to go into this process called acclimatization, which you are now literally increasing the number of blood cells and increasing hemoglobin concentration because that's the binding ion that carries your oxygen, right? In doing those things, they say this. Listen to this. They say, all these things done together improve your chances of getting up the mountain. Sometimes a lot of the stuff we have in our in the conversation we have in my channel does not make sense to unambitious people because you have no journey. There's nowhere you're going. So consequently, anything that feels to demand sacrifice from you is foreign message. You see what I'm talking about? So my idea is, how then do you curate an environment that enables the progression of your objectives, whatever those objectives are? For instance, I was obese. Show the photos. I'll show you guys. I was obese.
I want to see.
Yeah, I was obese. Yet, I've always prided myself as the teacher of discipline.
Okay, right?
So I'm like, wait a minute. I even did a video the day I started the journey. And I'm like, wait a minute. By the way, your brother sold me a meal plan that never worked. So,
which brother?
Which one?
Name names.
The other guy who...
He used to work with.
I can't mention names.
No, brother. Who's brother?
There's confidentiality. You guys used to be brothers. Do you used to have that bromance?
No, brother will last forever. You cannot be in the situation.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you one which works. Don't worry.
No, I know. As you can see, flat. Yeah. So what happens now is I get into this program, which the main thesis there was that forget the gym, focus on the kitchen. Right? And I analyze myself. I'm like, the problem of being poor for so long, once you have some command, you think you should be eating all the time. Like I could come from dinner, we could be having a dinner, and I should host you guys for dinner. And then after dinner, I drive by a pizza place. First, I can't even believe I can afford this pizza. Then I'm just eating it with Thanksgiving for no reason whatsoever. So I just became like so big. So this program was emphasizing on that. So what did I do? I went and removed my fridge from the house. You see that?
You're a very practical guy.
I'm trying to improve my chances of success because I'm actually seriously wanting to lose weight.
Which is weird because for me, I actually do the exact opposite of that. If I find something is a hindrance to my progress, I immerse myself into it. Like if that situation was me, I would fill up my fridge with all the candy, cakes, and everything, and just force myself to look at it.
Yeah.
And not touch it.
You're so strong. You're so strong. I'm not as strong as you, sir. Yeah, I'm not as strong as you.
I think I would use your method because I'm also not strong enough.
I'm just generally weak.
Because, I feel like to humans to error. So you can just think about it and be like, today's a sad day. Let me just go get the candy bar.
True. But I started trying to lose weight in 2016 when I met your colleague, and 2017 and 18.
Why are you forcing this?
Hey, Baba,
These are my colleagues.
you don't sing it?
I paid for that meal plan with money I didn't have. Let me tell you. Then I received
It
an
hurts.
Excel.
It
I
really
received an
hurts.
Excel. I received an Excel sheet, not even properly formatted. Anyway, so now what happens next is after trying and failing all this time, something very strange started happening. I couldn't carry a day. So 2 p.m. reaches, I am sleepy, like I have to sleep on the floor in the office. I can show you photos my colleagues would take and say, look at the way this fat man is sleeping. Yeah, I had to take a break in the middle of the day because I'm so super overweight. Yeah, and then so one day I'd make the good mistake to go and do a full body check. And then the doctor comes, looks at me like he's looking at a ghost. And then he says, wait. Then they go. And that is the period where you begin wondering, my goodness, what is it that they have found?
Shit in your pants.
Which of my sins have now finally come?
Have surfaced.
Yeah, who did I hang out? Anyway, so now what happens next is he comes and says, you are having mild heart attacks. And you've had mild heart attacks so much that your right side of your heart is elongated.
At what age was this?
Boss, 2022. You think it's a long time
Did
ago?
you choose?
And he chose it.
Hey, then you're doing a good job
Then
walking out, boss.
nikasema hapa sasa something has to change. Yeah, something has to change. So I got the motivation and just got into the journey. So that's what I'm saying. While the methodology may seem drastic, you only run as fast depending on what's
chasing you. Yeah. So are you saying you should put yourself in a situation where the dogs behind you are faster than you? Because you say when you say that you only run as fast as whatever is chasing you.
Yeah.
Should you?
What if nothing is
What if nothing is chasing you?
Baby,
like
let me tell you.
ambitions zako ni tusinyo, si kubwa
Let me
sana.
tell you, the only time you're free in your life is the moment where you are sliding out of the canals of your mom's uterus and going down the pelvic girdle, coming to the world. And when you can see the birth canal and you can see the light, and you're about now to enter this universe, you're transitioning from the spiritual to the natural.
Yeah.
And what happens next? That the nurse grabs you. That's the last day you're free. Because immediately they tell you Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, poor, rich, black, white, Asian. The day you got born with demons chasing you already.
Yeah.
You're already fighting so much. A lot of the stuff you're fighting, you don't even know.
For sure.
So sometimes you don't need to put yourself in front of dogs.
Okay.
You need to get the TV out of your sitting room so that you can reflect and correctly define what is really chasing you.
Yeah.
Then once you get a picture, for instance, if today we peep out there and you see the shadow of a grizzly bear, right? It looks like a grizzly bear, sounds like a grizzly bear, right? How do you behave? You behave like somebody who's about to be mauled by a
grizzly bear.
Then you walk out and you find it was just a measly dog with good lighting that completely deceived you. But you're better off having prepared for a grizzly bear than having prepared for a dog, because the latter
is even worse.
It means you're going to be taken out that day. So defining what's really chasing you, for instance.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of love for ladies, and I try to do my best to really empower. And the systems are already against you, for instance. Let me give you a study by MIT. So MIT does a study because of how we borrow in this country. And they say, they do a study about why is it that Kenyans take high interest personal debt? Why do they take it? And why do they take it? To invest it in their consumerism. not revenue earning, to consume.
Yeah.
And then they begin to argue a couple very deep things, 3 things. The first one, they come and say that because of the trauma of poverty, we are price insensitive. That means even if that loan was 15%, you'll be taking that loan and you don't know why you did it. So for you think it's a logical decision, but there is some psychological, sociological engineering that has happened behind over there. So you are finding yourself with a high interest loan debt that you have to pay, but really what informed that is the kind of experience you've had. Here's the second one. That individuals who have not been liquid for a bigger part of their life, right? Individuals who have not been liquid for a bigger part of their life, they will be price insensitive to the loan. So because you have not seen money in your growing up, you have always been in stringent budgets. You are more susceptible to borrow high interest debt. Ain't it interesting that the rich man gets money for free for 50 days? I remember one day, beautiful. I tell you, wealth is so nice. I entered the bank. Somebody who's just minding their own business. I come, I'm doing my transactions. And this was Chase Bank. And Chase Bank, they used to have these yellow girls. All of them, I'm wondering, why is it that it's only yellow girls who are coming here? And they're smiling. They would never smile like you like that if you met them in Java. But they're smiling. I actually used to drive all the way to ICE, the branch over here at Chiromo, because there now they selected, because that was the prestige branch. Okay. So I come there. And this lady comes smiling, very happy. Like, when Tom caught Jerry. Excited. Presents to me an envelope. I'm like, okay, what is this? Me, I'm so busy. Leave me alone. She said, no, open it. I open. What do I find? Gold card. Then it's okay. I ask her, I did apply for gold card. Then she says, no, gold card you don't apply for, baby. Gold card we give you. Then I ask, okay, fine. So what are the terms? He says, the money is free for 50 days. It is free. I can swipe. That time, I think I was given 4.5 M. I can swipe 4.5 million. Me who doesn't need it for free for 50 days. Now, a guy who is broke will not get 1,000 shillings free for no day. In fact, they hit you with 10%. Now I come to the ladies. Now they say that women who have had some traumatic experiences in early childhood, and honestly, it's rougher for our sisters. That
definitely
it is rougher for our sisters, and we have to support them. What happens? They say now that over and above the price insensitivity, over above the idea of self-sabotaging yourself because you have suffered so much subconsciously, you like damaging yourself. They now say that for ladies is what men are experiencing plus 18%. So the system is already rigged against you. Like there is so much you're fighting. You really need to know what you're fighting so you can position yourself properly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that make sense?
So
I think also it also comes from the urge of wanting to fight. You see how there are people who have struggled with different things. Someone knows that they don't have the money, but like how the comfortability of knowing that yes, this is my flaw, this is what, but the people have it worse, people have it better, but I'm okay here. I feel like like you're saying, if you had not reached that point of time of reaching that obesity level to go to the doctor, to do that good mistake that you're saying, and go and actually find out that you are actually affecting your life in that way, because it's not like you stopped earning money when you're obese. No. You still earned your money. You still could attract, women. You still could function like a normal person, except the part where you're having the heart problems. But if you had not reached that point of having that heart disease, do you think you would still have had the drive that you have today to be this size?
Okay. Would I still have the drive today if I had not reached that point? I believe strongly in prioritization. There are things that are of more importance than others. So there was a study by Harvard Business Review 2022, and in this study they argued that individuals who write down their financial objectives have a 75% likelihood of fulfilling all their life's objectives. Right? Not money objectives now. That is, you're writing down money goals, but you actually start fulfilling life goals. That's what the study established. Now, listen to this other part keenly. So what begins to happen is, after purpose discovery in this life, the only other thing you need to sort out is money. Without cash, even your gifting can be annoyance just because it is not properly resourced. What is America's first export? I'll tell you. Entertainment, baby.
Okay.
But how do they look at the entertainment? What do? They take a gift, they put it in the middle, then they put resources around that gift and ensure that that gift is platformed correctly. Would you agree with me that they're better singers than Breezy? 100% yes. Because the principle of life is such that anything that you have seen, there's always better.
Chris Brown.
But Breezy is the one who is
Sometimes marketing is the most powerful thing. It's the most
That guy's talented, boy.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the prioritization, right? So as to prioritization, now the problem is, all my life, nobody told me that money is important in that way.
Yeah.
Because nobody even teaches you to make cash. Nobody even teaches you how to handle money. Nobody even teaches you what investment is. Nobody teaches you these things, right? So I quickly discovered that a wise man, by his wisdom, will save a nation. Yet he is set aside. That this man has already demonstrated wisdom so much so that he's brought victory to the city. But he is set aside because of a lack of resources. So to your point, I believe that we need to prioritize based on the experience of humanity. Because nobody is putting a gun on your head to go with your own lessons and your own experiences. It makes sense. If I want to go to South Africa, it would help me to ask people who have gone to SA how they go. So foolishness would be, this is my truth. I'm living my life. It is my time now.
The youth.
You people, you don't know. You are old generation. Leave me alone. Let me do this my style. You guys, you had your chances. It's now my chance. Rubbish. So, is capital R for rubbish?
Stan, let me ask you something just before we indulge into something that I'm pretty sure you're going to have a politically right answer. Tofauti ya vitu unatuambia na motivation speakers ni, you know, the thing is this, you wake up here in the morning and tell me Kalala, do not drink, do not smoke, get your money, make a business and do. No, like I'm saying, most people will be quick to tell us, yo, the mind, you know, direction, you have to understand, la 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 la. You sound like a book that a motivation speaker sells to students in high school.
So primary school.
Or primary. So what is wapi ya utamu fulani ya wacha sani wa shoma, guys? You know, not using unajua kuna Kiingereza kubwa kubwa, which I'm not saying ati Kiingereza kubwa ni vibaya, but I want to talk to that person that follows Kalala. Ole mse fulani mwenye akobangu. Omse akobangu nataka nini na happen kwa ground, baba umetoka aje mazee, umo saizi mazee uko kile. Lakini sio kanza kuambia pole baba, nimekushukisha uko majuu basi. So what is that thing that makes people wealthy? Long story short.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for asking that beautiful question with such beautiful words. I couldn't say them better. Tell me, if you were today to look at how the society is set up,
all right,
would you say that the society is pro-wealth or against wealth?
Actually against wealth. I wouldn't say it's pro-wealth.
So intuitively, you can see the system is hacked against us, right? It's completely hacked. Okay, fantastic. Just keep that thought in mind. KIV it, keep it in view as now I dig deeper. Okay, so first, I am not a motivation speaker.
Okay,
I have never been. It has never been my desire.
All right.
If you look at my profile, I say real estate and growth strategist.
Yes.
Fantastic. Great. So while it is my very desire, especially being a Luo man, the thing I should be doing is I should be showing you what I've been able to do and all my properties, you know, my diamond, crystal, dragon, Chinese watch and so on. And all these type of things. I can go and show you my GLE. My
you're doing it right now. You're doing it right now.
No. I can tell you about my Diane Blue Versace that I even had to import.
Alrighty.
I can tell you all these things.
Yes, okay.
Right. But what does that do to you?
It
really creates an appetite for things. But that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to lift a generation from poverty. So I need to put your mind on selling.
Okay.
Ownership. Entrepreneurship, business. Get in the grind. So these things I say online, these are the meditations of my experience.
All right.
And they're actually coming from a point, most of them, of regret.
Oh, really?
It's actually stuff I didn't know. In fact, it would be very difficult for you guys to get me engaged today, extremely difficult because the money I've already made in this life, I didn't need to work one day in my life.
Yeah.
But nobody ever taught me what wealth means. I hope you know wealth does not mean money in the bank.
Yeah.
Right? Many people interpret wealth as money in the bank.
Yeah.
But true wealthy people will tell you that it has to be systems over sweat. See what I'm talking about? Right? Many people who are in the hustle right now, you're thinking about these 3 months, you're thinking about 2 years, you're thinking about 1 year. True wealth is built in decades. Do you know, and I'll prove it right now. In fact, how old are you?
35.
35, fantastic.
27.
27?
25.
You guys, I should be mentoring you. Okay, great. So 35, let's use him because he's been in the house for a minute.
Yeah.
If I told you today right now that the likelihood of you being needed to be in the hustle right now would not be possible, like you wouldn't be in the hustle right now, would you agree?
Yes.
You'd agree, right? Why?
Wow. Needing to be in the hustle right
like
now.
if I told you by this age right now, you could have been financially independent, would you believe it?
But I already am.
Ring the bell, Baba. Wrong guy.
Yo. At least you're not typical. So for the typical Kenyan, the typical young person, if you look at the hustle, when you introduce us as a significantly long enough time frame, all of us, the field is all of a sudden equalized. Because if somebody told me when I was 20 that work hard and have 15 million shillings, or work hard and have 10 million shillings, work hard and have 20 million shillings, and then you don't need to ever work a day in your life, my life would be much, much better. You see that? Because what happens is, I didn't need, you have to, Warren Buffett argues that you have to look at life in seasons and not in years. So you have to have your labor years. Your labor years means I don't mind staying in your SQ.
Yeah.
Your labor years means I don't mind catching a job because I have a financial independence number, which is basically the life you want to live.
Yeah.
So just think about the life you want to live. How much is your rent, right? Maybe you want 2 swimming pools, you want a sauna, you want a massage seat, 2 dogs, but one must be German, the other one must be American, all this stuff, this is what you want. And you cost that stuff. Many people, the dream life is not even up to 500,000 shillings per month, right? 500,000 shillings, baby. That is, if you had, let's say 20 million bob, you have completely surpassed 500,000 shilling passive income per month.
Yeah.
You see that? Meaning, the kind of life you'll have is the dream. Let me give an example so that it's not so theoretical. And then I'll come back to what does the young person do. Yeah. So there's this client of mine who was an MP until 2017. So when 2017 reaches, what happens? He's out of power. No problem. He was enterprising enough, as they tell us, that they're business people. So he had good capital. So now he has sufficient money to live off until 2022.
All right.
Makes sense. Okay, fine. So in this way, so he's living, he has this huge, big ass house in Karen. Edit us because I'm a very gospel person. But like, he has this big house, cars, dogs, servants, the life. Kids are even going to all this expensive school. Now, 5 years up to 2022, now the money has gone because there's not as much income as before. Okay, no problem. What happens in 2022? Because of fright, they now say, let me now give this thing a proper push. I must be in the next government. Does not happen. So they get my contact through a colleague of theirs. Long story short, I'm in his house. We're having this conversation. He's completely stuck. Then I ask him, why are you stuck? He kept saying every 2-3 minutes, what will people say? My children. What will people say? My cars. What will people say? Are you seeing the blackmail of fake life has kept many people in poverty? Because we are even borrowing to finance fakeness.
Yeah.
Right? It's because you don't have objective thinking. So I tell him, okay, boss, so now he's looking at me and I should now propose a plan. And the expectation, of course, is take your remaining, 10M, let's do GOT business. There's so much demand in Qatar. Take your remaining, whatever, let's do M-Pesa. Some business proposal. I tell him, no, what we're going to do, we're going to sell your house. His house was worth 250M. So we're going to sell your house and we will sell it at a loss. He looks at me like he wants now to slap me. I tell him, just listen. Then, so the problem is when I enter my role, right? I mean, I have 2 master's degrees. I'm trained in economics. I'm a PhD student. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So usually when I enter my role, I can tell anybody, shut up. So he's shouting, looking at his peers. I'm like, listen, just listen. The reason why I'm here is because
You need me, Baba.
Yeah, you are in problems. Yeah, and I'm done with the solution. Now, dude, can I tell you what our TikTok friends and our people online would say? You, where is your big house? Where is your 5 cars? Why is it that you're advising me? He was not asking. Only poor people think like that. Only poor people say, you don't have it. Why would you tell me about it? Right? As though truth is dependent on results. It's not. My results, your results, truth is independent of your experience and my experience.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So I tell him, so this was a strategy. We're going to sell your house. It was 250M. We sold it for 217 million. Took that money, put it on offshore accounts, put some of it in S&P 500, put some of it in equity funds, had of some of them in pure bond play. Blended return, 21%. Okay. On his 200 million, now a man has 4 million shillings passive income. You know, this guy almost kissed me on the forehead. You know what he says there? He says, I don't even want to be an MP anymore. Now, scale that down. Many of us, the reason why we are broke is because of something I call the curse of liquidity. Just because you see money in your bank account does not mean you're rich.
For sure.
You must question the source of that money. If that money came from leveraging your time, energy, and resources to acquire it, you're broke for broke.
For sure.
You start becoming rich when the money in your bank account came not as a result of your effort,
But
but a result of your capital,
income.
passive income.
Yeah.
I mean, they even said it isn't their capital. Think about it. It's the capital thing. What the students should be, everybody should be. I'm doing a podcast around University of Nairobi, all universities, just talking to them about wealth. My main message is this thing is called capital because it is capital. Everything else revolves around it.
Right.
So you need to spend an inconsiderable large part of your life fixing your capital game so that you know, okay, fine, my target is $1 million, I'm 100 million because I want to live a 1 million shilling life.
Okay.
So your work is for the next 10 years, I could live in Umoja for all I care. I say Umoja a lot, right? It doesn't move me because I have a target. You see that? Many people right now, actually, here's a study. CBK. CBK study of 2022, one of the findings they found is that 66% of Kenyans cannot afford their life. 66%. They continue to argue that income notwithstanding, that it doesn't matter if you're earning 200K, 400K, 600K, 1.2 million. All of them are unable to afford their life. Why? Because wealth is not built with what comes in. Wealth is built with what stays, what remains. So hence why I've said the movement of 50% living. If you can't afford your life with 50% of your income, you are living above your means.
Interesting.
So let me ask you, now they're talking about having a life that you can actually, unaweza afford. Kiingereza ni ngumu. And I'll just go straight ahead because mi ni ule mse fulani, if you decide to have kids, baba, don't call me talking about send me 2K urgently for diapers, sijui mtoto ni mgonjwa, sijui amefukuzwa school fees. Now I want to ask you, and please don't give me a politically right answer.
Do you feel I've been giving you politically
Deadly,
correct?
Baba, you're saying all the right words.
Now the thing is,
Very
do you know
nice.
why? Do you know why you feel like that?
Okay.
Many people actually feel like that because it's too good to be true for you.
Please.
Like you can't believe that this stuff is actually
No,
real.
I know it's
like
real.
You can't
I
believe.
can't
So
believe
let
that.
me just show you this math.
Okay.
Only this math.
All right.
I was saying I can prove to you that we don't need to be in the hustle right now. If you are 20 years today, and you said between the time you're 20 years and the time you're 35 years, you are living, let's say, aggressive strategy of 90%. 90% by the future, 10% live, meaning you're probably living with friends, you're living with relas,
Yeah, okay.
you are eating beef for basic, you are not overly social because being social in Nairobi is
Expensive as fuck,
right?
yeah.
So you're doing all these things to go for that capital. How long will it take you to hit 15 million shillings?
Very fast.
Like this.
Yeah.
So many of us are in the hustle right now, but we don't need to. Haven't you met these guys who their biggest years were behind them? Like, they'll tell you something. You think about cars. Which cars haven't I driven? Suits. I remember there's this friend of my sister who used to be, who used to be, he's a low man like me, who used to be one of these big TV stations. And him, even the whiskey in his house, he was saying, the Henny XO in Nairobi is from South Africa, and maybe sometimes the South Africans have, let me not say whatever they have, but mine I import from Amsterdam. And once they come from Amsterdam, they cannot be picked by the cab. I have to send my Prado to go and pick them. And it has to be a Friday evening. It's when right now, be for broke. So that you have money does not mean you are rich. You see that's the thing. Yeah. So that mindset of spending, consuming, it's even and then the problem of cash is this. Once you start getting some money, you think it's your right.
Yeah.
You think you're better than everybody else.
Are you
You're
not
like, I
though?
must have done something right. Could it be my English? Or is it my looks?
Are you
Or is it my vocabulary? You begin to think that you
can give you-
are a blessing.
Yes.
Like, is that how you think?
It's
I mean, no,
automatic.
like nasemaje baba, me have put in the effort, I've
Yeah.
done the work and I've
Yeah.
gotten the money. I'm dead as fucking better than everyone else. Wewe unateseka mazee, mimi niko njuithi. Yeah.
Njuithi inamaanisha nini?
Njuithi like am I? I'm
good.
going
All
to
right, all right.
Sindani wewe ni msaumo. The truth is slowly coming out.
He
was busy robbing.
You were putting in the work.
Yeah.
But putting in the work is not enough. Wars are never won by soldiers. Wars are won by generals. Yet the general will never be in the household. The general is never in the battleground.
Yeah.
The general might never even be in the vicinity. What's the general's play? Thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So strategy triumphs execution. But after strategy, you must execute.
Execute.
Where you are, you're on executing.
Yeah.
But if I ask you where you're going, you don't know.
Yeah, una cruise.
But at least you're honest.
Yeah.
Many people will have this thing of, I know what I'm doing.
Until today, I also didn't know that I was on a cruise.
yeah. Like you don't know what you don't know.
I saw you.
Wewe chile, kesho
you know I was on a
nichunge.
cruise. And you didn't tell me?
No.
Wow.
You're enjoying the cruise.
So now let me bring it now home to my question. Should broke people have children?
Because you've experienced both sides. You've been lowest of the low, and now you're at the highest of the high. So
Yes.
you'll be able to gauge.
Yeah, and
is
according
that
to-
something that
You would prescribe.
someone you'd have that opinion of? Yeah, you should be able to have children.
You
when
have gone
are-
so far, man. If you're broke, don't even date.
Baba, somebody
you have
ring the
you
bell.
have gone on children. Baby, you have no qualification to handle precious cargo if you're broke.
So if
You've
your
never
mother,
heard that song. Have you heard that song that says that a rich nigga wants your girlfriend and there's nothing you can do?
yeah,
You've heard that song?
yes.
You were saying?
If your mother didn't have you, this wouldn't be here.
100%. I'm with you completely 100%. But it's the struggle. Do you know what it did to my mother to see us 30%, 40% of the time being at home?
But how
Do
many
you know what-
how many
do you know
billionaires
how-
are born from struggle?
1 second. Me, I'm not a billionaire. So,
Or millionaires.
Okay. So, which currency? So, yeah. Do you know the things he did to her? Do you know the kind of confessions she has made to us, whether willingly or unwillingly, about her regrets, including being in that exact situation? Do you know how many of her productive years was wasted because she had to do five jobs in a 24 hour day? Just not even to give you, just to get food on your belly. It's not something she would advise even you to do it. That it happened does not mean it's ideal. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, so consequently, one has to, again, awareness is a really, once you're aware, it's up to you to decide. So you can decide, we want hustle and struggle.
All right.
Or you can decide, you don't want hustle and struggle in that
Exactly.
regard. Again, you quickly will see that a lot of the hard stories, from poverty to wealth and so on, they are the exceptions.
Yeah.
Statistically.
Yes.
So they become irrelevant. Because the norm, it is very difficult. The odds are stacked against you. For instance, as research by McKinsey is a management company, argues that 85% of the opportunities in corporate Nairobi are given by relationship. It means then if you're not in that relationship circle, already opportunities are stacked against you.
Yeah. Really?
While I need to write proposals and I have to get the color correct and I have to spell. You see, when I'm talking about we're getting the email right, we are signing at the right time. We're doing all these things. You're branded correctly. You have a website. You have all the shebang.
Yeah.
A guy will shake hands and get the deal.
That
And
is.
then they will adjust the procurement to align with that. So you begin to quickly see that just because something is not ideal. So it's up to you to now decide. The norm is you will be born in poverty and die in poverty, and you and your children, except you get very alive very quickly and begin to see TV is rubbish. Pizza, you are eating pizza, where rubbish. Nice clothes, rubbish. All those things, where are they? Right now, I can show you Pumas that I bought in Paris for something like $350, right? For no reason. In fact, that day, I was writing one of my master's papers, and I'm like, I should reward myself. I mean, look at me, I've written a master's assignment.
Yeah.
Assignment. Let me reward myself.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, right now, I look at it, I feel like crying. Because right now, I now have a wife, right? And when when there is tightness, when this squeeze comes, I'm like, I didn't need to be here. There are meetings I never need to have. You talk about this generation is all about mental health. Do you know the struggle and the damage
That
of
brokenness.
that brokenness delivers to you? You don't even need X, Y. You don't need. It's sufficient. Now if you add,
The ultimate pressures of life.
it becomes complicated.
Now, what did I want to ask? There was something
I hope that was not a politically correct.
No, that was a very straightforward.
That was now. So now that you really are big on investment, do you think kids are an investment?
That is African culture, because we have been taught to take, and everywhere we go, you're always thinking, what can I take? What's my benefit?
Yeah.
Right. One day my mom told me something very powerful. She said, "You people, me, I've lived my life. I've done my travels. I've gone to the hotels. I've put on my dresses. This thing I'm doing for you people, education, is for you to go and help yourselves. It is not for me."
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it is the parent's joy when the child is able to bring something home, not because of what they brought. You want to tell me you don't remember how mom smiles when you come home with groceries?
I did.
Even if you put a mask on her face, you see the smiles in her eyes.
In the eyes, yeah.
Do you know why? It is not that sugar has come. It is the tacit recognition that, look at my son. He's on the right track. I don't need to be here anymore. He's becoming a man. He's becoming somebody that this society can use. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So that the joy of a parent is that you sort yourself. So if you look at kids as investment, you are poverty thinking, scarcity thinking. Can you imagine? You have thought about your life so much so that you've even disqualified yourself from wealth, and you have now come and said, the only way is let me have these kids, and then these kids will help me.
Let me go ahead and have 9
The
too.
devil is a liar. No, you are the liar.
I really hope Ugandans
Are you
hearing
are you
this.
the golden ticket for your family out of the 7?
I'm actually the black sheep. Yeah, I've been expelled from school twice.
I'm the black sheep
I'm
too,
the-
man.
No way! You're an associate of the black sheep. Let me tell you. Do you know every time they used to tell people would sit around and talk about university, they would talk about all of my other siblings except me. Because in everybody's mind, I would never, ever, forever go. I would never even reach high school.
Is it because
In
of the
their
stealing? Or where is this idea coming from?
No, I'm rough on the edges.
Okay.
Don't be fooled by this suit.
It's a mask, eh?
It's a mask.
Wow. I like it when you say it like that, because you see, this mentality is what so many people lack. You see the thing, they'll be like, oh, children are a gift. Yes, children are a gift. But imagine bringing someone onto this earth to suffer.
Can you imagine?
Like, imagine. And because you want to be Father Abraham, you decide to, that ideology has never sat well with me personally.
I mean, I hear you, but you see, we're African, eh? And there's something called black tax. And we have to understand this.
It's still- and it's heavy.
Upende usipende utalipa. Whether you
is
like it or not,
heavy
you
for
have
it.
to.
That's
pay
why I
this.
want you to be rich,
So,
baby.
You see, that's the...
You know, black tax is because you're broke. Once you get some money, you won't feel it.
No,
You'll
but
tell you.
the thing is this, when you say that it makes your parent happy to just see you coming home with that new
Even if it
new
is-
shoe. Hata ile
even
kikombe
if it is
moja,
3
man,
tomatoes.
you get me?
Yeah.
I feel like you're talking about that because first things first, you've mentioned that your mother was a teacher.
Primary school teacher.
You have to understand, kama kona, I think like back in the day being a teacher is kidogo lucrative job. As in si ati unateseka sana, kama mse anaendesha nduthi, ama
Kabisa,
mse
yeah,
anachunga
yeah,
ng'ombe. You
yeah,
understand?
yeah.
So yes, you're not on the best part of life, but kidesign, mnajiweza, mnaningam. Now I want you to think about those people who usually have 11 kids because they want to increase the chances of huyu akiwa fala, huyu akuwe mwizi, huyu akuwe mchawi, huyu atatuomosha. You get me?
Yeah.
So tell me about that situation, because when you make it look like atikuwa na watoi na una ganji ni ufala, umse unapata wameteseka mazee, wamekuwa kilalia mamawe, wako sijui mashati zimeraruka zinakuwa bed sheets, then one of the kids anaomoka wala for real anaomoka, ndio anasoma anakuwa daktari, and then anaomosha awase wote. How is that not
Anaomosha ama anasupport?
support? Actually, so omosha is a strong word, but ana support us.
So what have you done?
But that's a
You
good
have
thing.
introduced a circle of poverty, because what will happen then is while he should be building his wealth for his bloodline, now he has to carry you on his back. Now and then let me tell you what happens. People even get entitled. Do you know, at some point, one of my brothers did well, working for KPLC, become rich, go to Maradaima, we come to his house. All of us, we were living now in his house. And then there's even one day where we were seated in the sitting room discussing his salary, where we are saying, why is it that we don't have this? We don't have this. Our brother earns so much money. Let's compute rent. How much? School fees.
Are you
How
serious?
much? Guess what happens next? He was walking in. A man disappeared for 25 years. My brother is watching now. He disappeared for... One day he woke up and a guy just went. Nobody knew where he went. He came that time was about Kileleshwa. He came to my house 2 years ago. Yeah. We just found each other on social media and he's like, I'm in South Africa. What, Nini, I'm coming to see you guys.
He had
And
enough.
he didn't even do something wrong. He did the right.
And he had been building, but it's the wrong model. Yeah. So you are propagating a dysfunction. A prudent man foresees evil and takes precaution. A foolish man continues and he is punished for it. Sasa utaingia kwa shida ukiona.
But I feel like your brother actually saw and stopped it before it got worse. 'Cause it was
Precisely
going
the
to get
point.
worse,
100%, but how many do it?
Yeah, because ushaisikia mzazi wako akwambia, unajua mimi nilikuzaa. That statement will take every single cent out of your pocket.
This is what it is.
Nilikuzaa
So
nikakulea.
have you built wealth for them as well, or helped them build wealth for themselves? Or are they all good now?
I've done my best, but I learned something that you can be womb mates, but you can never ever be destiny mates. Yeah, I can be your brother by blood, but I can never be your brother by destiny.
Yeah.
Like we all have our parts, right? Again, you will find that except there is serious training, many of your siblings or many of the siblings of those people who are performing feel entitled that they should be helped. Scarcity thinking. Right? Do you know nobody's coming to help you?
For sure. Run.
The only person who's thinking about you, maybe your mother. Maybe. Even your dad is not thinking about you. How much more your brother? Right? And to burden them with that expectation is a dysfunction. So we are propagating a dysfunction in the name of let's be hopeful, I honestly believe, regretfully I'm coming from this research point of view, I honestly believe that research informs action. Right? So if you are saying, if I do these 7 things, there's a possibility I'll die before 40, then these are the 7 things to avoid.
Yeah.
Right or not? Precisely the point. So while you can decide to still have kids despite your economic situation, nobody can judge you. It's your decision. Like it's your truth. Right? But
don't make it
enjoy the consequences.
Are you religious?
Am I religious? No.
Spiritual.
Do you think
Spiritual, yes.
Spiritual. Do you think that the church keeps more people in poverty?
Who is the church?
Mapasta, madikon, choir, mbogi mzima.
But the pastors and the deacons and the choir, that's not the church.
Or actually, do you think religion keeps people in poverty?
100%. 100%. Karl Marx wrote a book called The Wealth of Nations, which became the Magna Carta of economics. That's where you start, right? And he said that religion is the opium of the masses. Because religion is the analgesic that tells you if you're poor, you're close to God.
Feed you hope.
Yeah, if you're poor, so it gives you that, it gives you hope, and it makes the situation not as bad as it should be. There are very many, should I say, selfish infrastructural systems that religion has implemented for their own selfish objectives and so on, right? So I'm not personally very big on religion. I'm very big on spiritualism. Yes, which is a personal relationship with your creator. Yeah. Personal being the keyword.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a private worshiper.
Well, I'm a staunch Catholic, so I'm big on religion. But
When you say religion, what do you mean?
You're Christian.
I'm a Catholic.
I'm Christian as well, but I'm not religious.
Catholic.
Okay.
Like
The original one. From Rome.
No.
Not
But yes, like studied, grown, raised in that aspect, and I've gotten to read so much about it. It's not about, do you know what happens to a country without hope? Have you ever closed your eyes and imagined a country that had no hope? Do you know how nasty it can get there? It's not about, because the things you're talking about, the only other thing that can give you hope that is not your faith is What?
Tell me, Nampera, I love your passionate argument. Like, I was just about to lift up my hands and join the Roman Catholic Church as well.
Oh, wow.
But tell me, when you say, do you know what happens to a nation without hope? Right? It's drastic. But you can cure it very easily with vision. Because what usually happens is vision has a way of numbing pain as well. And through religion, if you read the scriptures, you'll quickly see that you don't have a discipline problem, you have a vision problem. So Solomon one day was arguing to his son David, and he said that where there is no vision, the people perish. Another version says the people cast off restraint. The people are living without discipline, right? So you quickly see that sometimes the problem is not a discipline problem or a willpower problem, is a vision problem. I assume you are big on the fitness industry, right?
Yes.
One of the biggest things that the fitness people who I have subjected myself to many times, one day there was this Muluya one who told me, when you see yourself sweating, the fat is crying.
What?
And they are saying yes, and I'm a graduate. I'm just like, that makes sense.
I mean,
The first thing they'll tell you is, what body do you want to have? So you work backwards from your vision.
yeah.
I am not an advocate for mindless hope.
Yes.
That hope must attach itself to something.
Yeah.
Because if it does not attach itself to something, you will get disappointment, then you get resentment, then you get depression, then where do you go? Suicide.
All right.
Like you said, you're here for yourself. No one is there to back you.
No one is showing
That's
up.
what it is, boss.
So-
The day you realize that is the day you'll quit. Have you ever seen these shows where people are just living life, then they start surviving, then things get rough, and then now they start fighting each other, stabbing each other, eating anything, and even sometimes they consider eating one of themselves.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But that's for vision. But you see, the thing is that about not to defend the Roman Catholic Church, but it's just in a way of, it's not only hope that they teach, it's discipline. Because having the discipline to, when you're Catholic, like those who see the Christian wakes up, she has to go for Mass. Mass is going to take almost 50 minutes. We have to go to work after Mass. After that, you have to go for, let's say confession. You have to go, the Mass, we have order of Mass. We have a certain order because it teaches someone discipline. You get the reason I was attracted
Wait
to
a minute. The order teaches you discipline.
because it's like you are in a situation, it's like when you're in boarding school, when you're in prison, in situations where you have to.
It's like a timetable, a routine.
Yes, it's a routine.
So it keeps you-
It keeps you
check.
in
the straight and
But
narrow.
where do you implement that discipline?
in your day-to-day
Just in
life.
church or everything else?
Because there's no way you're going to tell me that you're going to wake up every single day at 7 or 6:30 because you have Mass at 7, and from 7 you go for Mass 7 to 8 and then go back home and sleep.
I mean,
No.
when you think about it, as in, I feel like when you talk
No.
about discipline like that, it's because you're only disciplined to this routine.
Yes.
When you remove the routine, you see, let's say you have at 7 to 8, then probably 12 to 1, then 7 to, and then 9. So those times you're going to religiously show up. But now from 8 to 12.
Kalala. There's the difference between a child who has gone to boarding school and a child who has gone to day school. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Why is the difference there? If you're saying if they remove them from the environment, it changes and goes back to zero.
No, as in I'm
Why is
saying
the
in
difference
school, I would wake up and do my chores and go for preps, but Saturday and Sundays used to be different. There's a Saturday that I'll sleep, there's a Saturday that I'll
I
sneak
see what
out,
you're saying,
and that's
yeah.
not
Saturday
even
that
discipline. That's just routine.
Yeah.
there? But routine causes discipline. You can't say
No, once you're out
you
of that
woke up
routine,
and you
discipline
already-
goes away unless you've put yourself into that. Like you see, if you wake up in the morning, I know in the morning I'm waking up, I'm going to the gym. After the gym, I'm writing a journal about, my whatever it is, my business goals or
You're
whatever.
looking far.
After
You're
that,
looking
I know
far,
how to have
Frankie. You're
my
looking
meal
far. You
for the
began
lunchtime.
gymming. Why? Why did you begin gymming?
Because it gave me discipline.
And how was that? Isn't that a routine? Did you wake up every single
No,
day
before
to do
that,
it?
I didn't have anything to fight for. Like there was,
you're going far.
I didn't have a routine.
Every single day to work out. You skipped around. The next day you decided to jump like a frog.
Before,
Did you have a
before
routine when you're working out? Did you have a routine when
my
you're working
routine
out?
revolved around gym.
Obviously. Yeah.
Huh? Like I'm trying to tell you that it gave
But
you.
your routine revolves around just the church.
No, it's literally, because remember, you're not just waking up and landing in church. You're waking up and preparing to go to church. Then you're leaving church and actually having a function to know that it's literally set in your head that at this point in time, it's like when you're training a rat.
So let me ask you a question. So church gave you
Who's
discipline.
training a rat?
Actually,
I was going to go back
wanted
to
to hear
the,
that
I was going
point
to go
on
back to
rat.
the basics.
I'm telling you, Uganda has miracles.
When you're training a
You are
rat.
the training a rat. Continue. Tell us about training a rat.
when they're like having training sessions and they want to see
How rats run on the highway.
shut
Like a rat on the highway.
No, when they want to see teaching, like, scientists, these people who do biology, who do research, they like get monkeys to first test on, they study monkeys,
that's what
they
you
study
meant.
they study like other animals that are not human beings, because you can't
Alright.
play with a human being.
Yeah.
So they get monkeys and start studying them and be like, okay, if I give this monkey every single day a bite at 8 a.m. And every single time I give her the bite, I'm going to open that door and I'm going to force it out. On the 10th, in the 10th month, when I've given it the bite, will it open that door on its own and get out? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
But it's not going to go and be an entrepreneur.
That's what it is.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Precisely. That
Yes.
discipline has to have focus. Like if you for instance, I was a very disciplined thug.
Come on, ring the
Yeah,
bell.
like I would come, first of all, look at the most nonchalant Form 1, become their friend. And then I'd say, I want to mentor you. You are Form 1. What do you know? Nothing. I'm going to help you. Right? Can I help you? And there's a particular way you must arrange your things. Can I go and help you arrange your sanduku? That metallic box.
Yeah.
But I'm doing reconnaissance, baby. And then I'm tabulating. And then I'm waiting for the correct conditions to make my move. I was very disciplined. On which side, baby?
Being a thug.
Being a thug.
But do you know what that taught you? That you need money. Do you know what that taught the monkey? That it needs
No.
that
It didn't
snack.
teach me that the reason why I was doing it is because I needed money. You see what I'm saying? So you got it like the upside, the other way around.
No, you were doing it because you needed money. But if you had done it and continuously, let's say, because stealing you have to get, but if you had done it continuously and you didn't benefit from it, you would not have continued doing it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? The mere fact that you kept benefiting from what you were doing, it gave you momentum to continue and do something even better to get more. What do you get?
But when I was asked for more, I
didn't
ran
have-
home like what did you say?
Like a bitch.
But your friends, because you see now the thing is that for your vision is not the more that they had. Their vision was different. Their vision was a TV screen, these small things that they're stealing in the house. Your vision was buildings. Your vision was to be, you get what I'm trying to say? So now for it, that let's go back to the monkey. You've trained the monkey to eat.
The rats. Let's go with the rats.
You've trained the monkey that it wants that snack. You've now left it. Now it's going to start craving what? The snacks it has been eating, and it's going to look for a way to make sure it gets the snacks. So that comes with what I'm trying to tell about discipline. If you train yourself that working out, and you say, I have a routine, I have to work out every single day. When you give yourself space or that routine breaks, yes, you've removed yourself. That's why people in boarding schools actually have more discipline that people have been in day, because these people have been automatically trying to wake up early in the morning to what? They don't have alarm clocks like someone whose parents is going to come and tap them or wake up and go to work and go to school. You get what I'm trying to say? This person has been forced that if you don't wake up, the matron is coming to cane you in your bed. So they are, even when they
but that's
grow up,
conditioning.
So with all the discipline that you've built, why are you cruising then?
it's a very different scenario from what you're saying, because in that cruising that you're saying, I'm actually doing something for myself. That's the reason my mom can wake up and just say, Christine, take me for shopping, and I can, because I am making money. Another person would be in this situation and not make money out of it, and actually do the other things that others do, maybe, benefit from it in an easier way.
The problem is one.
Yeah.
I like your argument. It makes a lot of sense. But the numbers are against you. The statistics don't lie. So there have been studies that have now shown that the most religious of societies are the poorest. Have you ever asked yourself why? Because of the abdication of responsibility. And the abdication is that God is coming to help me.
For sure.
Shock on you. God is not coming to help you. If God was coming to help you, then intercessors would be very wealthy people.
Ooh, yeah.
If God was coming to help you, then many a pastor doesn't need to sell oil or to sell fabrics. Let God come and help them.
Crazy.
Precisely the point. God is not coming to help you. God will empower you for the possibilities that are ahead of you.
Yeah.
So consequently, my fight with religion is the the reason why I'm not moving forward is because of spiritual warfare. Shut up your mouth.
Ancestral.
The reason why I'm not moving
Forces.
forward. While there could be spiritual undertones that must be dealt with, and there's scriptural solutions to those undertones, you will quickly realize, and very harshly, so that in all labor there is profit. But idle talk tends only to poverty.
Yeah.
You see? So there has to be the faith, Jacob, empowers you for action. So you'll be acting at a higher level. But it is not faith for passive living.
Yeah.
See what I'm talking about? So the idea that miraculously, miracle money. Miracle, you see? Somebody in their head, I should wake up in the morning and by some miraculous thing, money should come. Here's another one. Debt cancellation. Supernatural debt cancellation.
What do you mean? What's that? What's that?
That
that's
is,
a personal-
you know them, yeah?
yes,
You know them, right?
yes.
So supernatural debt
They are
cancellation
there.
is that by some miracle, God will cancel your debt.
Maybe the person
like, what the
will,
fuck?
will just tell you I've forgiven you, or
Yeah.
someone will just.
So what
God
does it
forbid,
build in you? It builds the expectation I can borrow after all. God, leave that one. What about the wealth of the just? The wealth of the wicked is coming to the just. So for you, you're like, you see all these wicked people. First of all, you're very judgmental because you're religious.
Yeah.
All these wicked people, all their money is going to come to me.
No, we are not.
I'm
So
sorry, Christy.
you can begin now.
I'm not
I'm telling you, do you
judgmental.
know why I'm telling you that?
Why?
Because I am deeper in Christianity more than you could ever think. What happens is, let me give you an example. Let me just give one example. Have you ever been around these people who pray a lot?
I pray a
Yes.
lot.
They look at you. Do you know what
pray a
their view? What do you know what their view of the rest of you? Or the rest of us?
No,
Do you
I
know what
don't
their view?
view you
What
guys
gender
different.
Let me tell you. First, you are sinners. You don't pray enough. How can you be living life without
Holy
praying?
Have I
ever told
And you're
you
going to
that?
hell.
Have I ever told you that, Kalala?
Yes,
Have I ever told
I
you?
remember.
Nyam,
We
very
can
soon.
see it in your eyes. We can see it in your eyes.
You're collateral,
You-
mama.
You look down on us as the rest,
Yeah,
like,
what do you mean?
like you guys are going to hell.
No, I know I'm a sinner. Actually, I may be, more of a sinner, but it's just because knowing that, you have a sense of faith. And I feel like what you're talking about, yes, it's valid. I've seen them at church. There are people who pray from morning to evening and hoping for a miracle. They are there. But that should not be blamed on the church.
No, it should be because
But we are mixing issues.
Can
We're
I please?
talking about religion. We went into discipline. We went
Yes.
into the
Okay,
church.
the
We
religion.
talk about
It
religion.
should not be blamed on religion.
But you see, what is religion?
Believing in
Religion.
higher being.
No. Depends with your theology. You see, religion is the systemized understanding of God. Right? So that is the theology. In fact, when you say theology, what is it? Study of God.
Yeah.
So what is it? It's coming from man to God. So how could a finite human being ever, in their wildest imagination, understand an infinite human being? It is Solomon that said, he has set eternity in the hearts of men, yet they could not fathom it. It is Paul that said that I have made the wisdom of the world to be foolishness, and the foolishness of the world, I have called it wisdom. That the things that you call foolish, I, the Lord, I make wise.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So the whole premise of religion and theology is starting from a back foot, because we are all groping in the dark, as Paul said in another place. Says, hoping that peradventure we might attain, but nobody has sureties.
Yeah.
Because how do you, the complexity of God and the comprehensiveness of God can never be contained even in human language. That we don't have words enough to describe. You're a Christian. One of those big conversations is the love of God that is unconditional. Which words can you put together to describe the love of God? You see what I'm talking about? So consequently, religion is systemized understanding of God. So for instance, they'll come and say, wear a rosary. Because I was a Catholic as well before. Wear a rosary. Or come to church on Friday.
Don't
Yeah.
hide
Come
your
on.
rosary. Show it.
No.
Yeah. They'll say, come, bow 3 times.
Yeah.
Did God say it?
No, it's just
Who said we should bow 3 times?
you're looking
Right?
at it in a wrong
No.
way.
I'm trying to highlight, me being deeper, I'm with you, very deep in Christianity. I'm trying to highlight that we have to separate religion and religiosity with spirituality. You see what I'm talking about? I think the aim should be an understanding, or should I say, an awareness and relationship with God more than an awareness and relationship to the systems. I should
Alright.
take sacrament. I should come to church. If I don't show up in church once, twice, now they have backslid.
No, they don't
Can
say
I give you
that.
something
They
shocking?
kind of do.
They don't say that.
After being
They
in
do.
both worlds, let me tell you something very shocking, except from like 5 or 6 of my very close friends. Do you know that bar friendships are deeper than church
For
church
sure.
friendships?
Best believe. I can't
Have you ever
test.
asked yourself why? Why is it that bar friendships are stronger than church friendships?
I disagree.
Because in the bar, they're taking strong spirits.
The real spirit.
The real spirits are in the bar.
Don't get me started. Let me leave that
Because
alone.
you guys,
Let me just leave that alone.
let me tell you, it's like
Is
saying.
that true though?
No, listen.
You don't believe? Is
you
it
know
true?
you can be homeschooled.
But is that true? Do you think it's true?
No, I don't think it's true.
Why is it hurt you the way it's hurting you?
Because my best friend
Yeah.
and I go to church together, and we don't go. Okay, we used to go out together. But
Used.
Yeah,
so it
but
started
we
growing
met
up-
in
from
we
growing
met
up.
in school. We didn't meet in the bar. The people I've met in the bar are the ones who go ahead and gossip about me and say the wrong things about me. And this person I met in, okay, it was a different setting. It's not bar or church, but we met at school. But what I'm trying to say, it's the way you're looking at it. I understand your point of view because so many people are like you as well, and But I feel like
Like how?
looking at it in a way of like in a
Oh,
negative
unajua
way.
kuchemsha wewe.
So-
Now leave that.
So you see how you education can be gotten from school and also from home. You can be homeschooled. You can actually sit at home
Very true.
and study and actually be more brilliant than someone who's going to school. But people who go to school, because people don't have the time to sit down and actually educate their children in a way that doesn't need them to go to school. So what they do is they send them to school for them to what? To get the knowledge.
To what?
And there's so many
Knowledge.
there are so many things that happen in a school. There's
Kampala
very
is here
strict
for sure. She was speaking very sophisticated English before.
then,
The more we go, the more Luganda. Luganda English is just
I am fighting
the
alone
West
right
Coast is
now.
fighting. Have you ever heard this story? I call you, hey, praise the Lord, Bwana asifiwe sana.
Amen.
Bro, man, my house is locked. Bro, I have no food.
Yes.
Man, I'm praying for you.
Fuck that.
I'm praying God will help you, bro. Man, I'm standing in the faith with you. Right? That's what that has been my experience for the most part as a Christian. Before I entered Christianity, my boyfriends would be like, what, bro? Ati nini? First of all, where's mama? Please do this. Drive to my house right now. You guys, let's eat first. And then we know what we'll do next. The next thing, guys have come, guys are changaing. I don't see that in church.
You see, the thing is
I can
that
tell you, I don't know if this is, and I'm saying this, you people, you're not even aware of the kind of storm that is about to come. Because I'm a very vocal Christian. Like I'm deeply sold to Christianity in ways you might never even imagine. But the experience in the church is different from the experience in the world. I find that in the world, in quotes, I find that our friends in the world are more willing to be with you in the trenches more than, because in fact, as a matter of fact, do you know that many people, once you reveal your issue or your nini, they now say you are the woman with the issue of blood. We don't even associate with you.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be seen with you. I don't want to be, I don't want to be touched anywhere around you.
Yeah,
You are flawed.
Yeah.
And it's bad for the brand. You don't need to be around us anymore. And then you start getting what? You start getting ostracized. Being ostracized, the problem of being ostracized is sometimes you might never realize even it. All of a sudden, nobody's inviting you for anything. The worst thing is that you're looking at IG and your small group of fellowship, people went for pizza plot without you because you just confessed
That you're going through some fuckery.
No, that what happens, the funny thing, people do it, but nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
You just confessed and said that you're dating a married man, for instance. The day you say that, that's the day they start cutting you off. So that is the experience of I don't know. I'm saying that as somebody who advocates strongly that you should come to church. But as Christians, we should do better. There's one author called Rick Joyner who said that he has never seen an army that slaughters his own soldiers like the Christian church.
Can I finish my point that I was making earlier? Yes. So it's back to the point of going to boarding school. This is not, I'm not saying that if it were up to, obviously, because I'm a very spiritual person as well. I'm in touch, I speak to God and I don't believe in so many things, but it's just in a way of, it's guidance. It's like a guidance tool. For you taking it like it's instructions. I've told you, even after you leave school, wake up at this time, eat portion beans every day, do this and this, go for these lessons. No. Literally, it's like because now what I was explained to you earlier, when a child is, you can't raise your child because you're not as available as you'd want for them. You take them to school for the school to raise them, and that's what religion is for. You get, it's not to make you mbu. This is what you're supposed to. It's just to guide you spiritually.
Did you just say mbu? We are now in Uganda.
It's to guide you until you find yourself. It's not a manual. It's a guidance tool. It's the same way how you look at a boarding school, the same way how you look at a teaching school, the same way you look at so many things. It's guidance. You're looking at it because you're briefing every single thing. It's like saying, I can't take my child to boarding school. In boarding school, they sodomize kids. Or in boarding schools, they steal. Or in boarding schools, he's going to learn bad manners. That happens in schools, yes. The probabilities are there that are high. But are you going to take away the fact that they actually benefit from the school? Are you going to take it away because there are other disadvantages that come with being in
I
school?
don't want to take away anything. I just want to give.
Baby girl, Wusa.
Cool
down.
Okay.
Before we wrap up, because I know we've taken up pretty much all your time. It's been a very interesting conversation. There's one thing which I just want to, I guess what we all want to know is, how do we network? And people outside, obviously, they want to know this, how to network.
Okay, so I think the first thing, from an awareness point of view, I will give my contribution because, our society is so feisty.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't blame them. The economics is difficult.
Why do you say them as if you're not part of society? Why do you join?
Let me revise. I learn quickly.
Hey, sorry.
I apologize.
Yeah.
So we are very feisty.
Yes.
And we like to pull people down. For instance, my video that trended, that should have made me a star worthy of your presence now, at least to sit with stars like you. How could I ever even sit with stars like you? But when I finally got the opportunity to come out, you know what they did? They made sure they cut that video so that my name is not there. So the video is trending, but nobody knows me, so it's not translating on my page.
It's another guy.
They'll know you now.
Yeah,
They'll know you
because
now,
I went to X and guys like, who's this guy? I'm like, baby.
It is me.
Baby, it is me.
I'm the boy.
It is me. Well, you can't find me. You can't find Stan Agacho. What are you talking about? You see that? Yeah, society is so feisty. Everybody is pulling everybody down.
They don't want,
nobody wants anybody to go out. It's almost as if somebody rises, they are reducing space for you. You see that? Yeah. So that's why. So everything that people say, it gets shut down.
Yeah.
Then the stuff I say is for people who are willing.
Yeah,
Kautaki shauri yake, you stay with your poverty. Here's a statistic.
Stay with your poverty.
I've given you a statistic that 85% of the opportunities in Nairobi are given because of relationship.
Yeah.
That should begin to tell you the kind of impact the correct relationships can have in your life. Do you know one correct introduction can buy for you 10 years?
Yeah.
100%. But people understand it from the other side.
Corruption.
Because, one incorrect introduction can cost you 10 years. Definitely. Don't tell me you have not known these people who you dated and you're saying, say something. I'm giving up. 6 years happens, nothing happens, they marry somebody else. You wasted 6 years.
Yeah.
People are so important. Is this TVR Covey who gave a statistic and said that you're 4 people away from the president of any nation? 4 people away. Okay, so that will now tell you the problem of us and our generation. You now posture yourself, how can I take? How can I take? Give me your introductions. But it matters who introduces you. Please, can somebody hook me up with Oscar Sudi?
Yeah.
And then, so you want to be hooked up with Oscar, so that what happens? Baby, anytime you're in a table where you did not bring value, you best turn behind and look for some baby oil. Because in the case,
communication.
I know how to grab your ears. In the case you are not bringing value in the table, ask yourself very difficult questions. You will network correctly if you can answer this question, what value am I bringing? Have the mindset, I must be bringing something.
Okay.
Yes.
True, granted, I don't have cash, but I can bring professionalism. I can bring hard work. I can bring research. Do you know, for the longest time, there were like easily something like 20, 30 schools where I went and told them, anytime a speaker cancels, please call me. As long as you just give me 1 hour time, 1 hour notice, I will come.
I'll be there.
Because I want to be available.
Yeah.
Right? You see, that fragrance of availability, do you know the amount of doors it has happened? Now I choose invitations.
Yeah.
You see what has happened now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Because you're
those are
coming into a space not because of what you can take, but what you can give. So you cannot network if you're selfish. It is very difficult for you to network. Now the problem is, intuitively, do you know if somebody wants to collect from you, you know, you feel it. There is a way you feel.
In the stomach.
Yeah, this guy wants to collect something.
Yeah.
And once you feel it, they enter into imposter syndrome mode. They now want to impress you with things that are fictitious.
Yeah.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we don't know how to network correctly because we are selfish. When you begin to break selfishness and come to a place where you're asking yourself, what value can I add to you? How do I help you? How do I help your journey? How do I support you? Wait a minute. Just wait a minute.
I'm thinking. Sorry.
With a small community. But reputation is like wildfire. James Mwangi, one day I was sitting with James Mwangi and he told me, you know, Stan, once you lose your reputation, you're like a man who died and they refused to bury him. So everywhere, every room you enter, there's a smell of a corpse. Now, reputation is the other way around. If you're able to build a brand that is consistent with, I want to help, I am available, you can count on me, I am not money fast. One day I was having an event in town, I invited one of my mentees to come and sing. They sent me an invoice, right? And then I asked them, you mean to tell me you are billing me? You know what he told me? He told me, even Messi does not play it for free. Then I told him, but you're not Messi, baby.
God damn, okay.
You are living in your future. You're not yet there. Concretize value fast, right? So you'll find that there are people right now who are charging while they didn't need to charge. You see what I'm talking about? So while we always say, you cannot pay me with exposure and all those things, there's a place to be paid with exposure, and it is okay for you to put in the donkey work.
Yeah.
Do you know the kind of people you begin to meet? Let me tell you, boss, I made my first career, of course, is listening, and the books are there. The first big contract, let's say it like that. Let's say it like that.
Bring it home.
The first big contract, I got it in the Mjengo, baby. In the Mjengo. And it was a Saturday afternoon. I didn't need to be at site. So after people are, you're paid every weekend. So after people have been paid, I remain behind. And I was speaking to, the managers there. Then it just happened that the owner of the project came that day. Then we start talking. That's the guy who asked me, but how comes your English is like this? I think you should be the manager. That's coming from a place of value. It's coming from a place of I don't need to be here. Every time I'm here, I must be paid.
Yeah.
Every time I'm here, there has to be consideration for me. I read one post, somebody said that every time you sit with a politician, the first thing you must ask them is, what is in it for me? Baby, you are courting poverty, and you're courting poverty with a lot of passion. I will warn you as your big brother, you need to abandon flight quickly and turn back and go to a place of, let me invest. Listen, you will never harvest where you never planted. Don't be the guy who goes with an ATM card by faith to go and withdraw from an account they never furnished.
Yeah.
Remember, in the early days, your deposits will be higher than your withdrawals, but you have compound effect. So in the latter days, your withdrawals will become more than your deposits.
Yeah.
That's what Bill Gates called business at the speed of trust. Once, let me tell you, and that's also one of my biggest regrets. If I began to tell you, which I've sat with African press, if I began to tell you the kind of doors I have had, you people, it would be very difficult for you to approach me. It would be very hard for Edwin even to get my number anywhere. You'll get the number 6 PA. Yeah. Because but I messed my relationships. And then there's this craftiness of you now want, because now you think you're so smart and you're so wise. You want to be the one playing the system. You want to be the one playing the cards. You are adjusting invoices. You are overstating. And you're playing all these stupid games thinking you're very smart. But it is so plain to the people who are ahead of you. The kind of doors that I don't have access to right now, there are projects I didn't need to write proposals for. I could pick the phone and call. Yeah. And I get a guy saying, okay, fine, how much are you looking at? Okay, great, give me 7 days, give me 10 days, give me 2 weeks, I'm getting money from Mauritius. No contract, no and nothing. I lost many of those stores because of, should I say, blindless selfishness of trying to collect value where I never invested value. So I argued that if you want to build wealth, you have to think in seasons, right? And you can decide for yourself what those seasons look like.
All right.
But whatever happens, there's something called planting season. Now, if you look at the posture of the man who is planting, the posture of the man who's planting does not have the arrogance of the man who's harvesting. The life of the man who's planting is not the same life as the man who's harvesting. The problem is we want to be the man who's planting, we are in the hustle, but we want to live the life of the man who is harvesting. For instance, I came here, I am completely privileged even to sit with people like you because I recognize deeply and I appreciate that you have been in the content game and you're ahead of me. Do you know how many Kenyans can admit that? Many of us in our minds, we are the biggest.
Big boy.
Yeah, you respect nobody. That is why you can talk down leaders, you can talk down CEOs. Anybody who does anything important is shut down because of self-sabotage and the arrogance of thinking we are the same. We are not the same, baby. We are not the same. You will quickly discover that when you take your first flight. Unaipita hapo kama mbuzi, you find guys seated there. While you are being served in plastic, guys are embracing metallic cutlery. And sir, would you have some champagne or do you have some juice? You have some mocktail. Huko gazelle class, nobody offers you anything. Gazelle class, yeah. Nobody offers you anything until you're in your mid-flight. They ask you, chicken or beef? And it's
very cold.
It's very cold, yeah. So on the other side, boss, you are on a menu. What is my point? My point is, if you are in gazelle class right now, embrace gazelle class, own gazelle class, and accept to be treated like gazelle class. It is okay. Keep your head down, work for a while, then you'll come to your large place. So the mindless selfishness is, I want the accolades or I want the respect, honor and compensation of somebody who has been in the household for 25 years, yet I'm just starting. You see what I'm talking about? So when you come to a place where you must appreciate gradients. If somebody is ahead of you, they are ahead of you. While you would be talking about, if we had a holiday conversation right now, I might just say, okay, fine, let me just go home because of the locations you'll mention. I thought you'll talk about Sio Kimau. I thought you'll talk about Kisumu. But you say, if you begin a conversation like there is this bespoke hotel somewhere downtown Paris, just before the rain station, I'm sure you know it, you've been to Paris, you man, right? If we start talking like that, you see, all of a sudden now, for me now, as somebody who's listening to you, I must not now pretend that I am with you and I know it. I should take the posture of a student and say, show me your ways, baby. I'm like, this is another level. Humility. So we have to have a very healthy respect for people who are ahead of us. That is, for instance, I'm trying to get the content game. I'm very happy to be your student. Right? I won't even be chatting you like we know each other or we are friends. We are not. You are ahead of me and I have to have the healthy respect to say there's something that I don't. Let me learn. Now, in that season of learning, you can't have mindless selfishness. As a matter of fact, you become selfless. Those are the days somebody will call you and say, boss, it's 10 p.m. We know you worked in the morning shift, but you have to come to the night shift because nobody came. You should not now open the riot book and say, no, my contract does not say that. You are shooting yourself in the foot.
Okay. So, I'm just kidogo tu. I hear you when you talk about sawa umepigia simu umeambiwa kuja, kuna mse wa shift ya usiku haja come. Where is the line between you being that person showing up to give value and the other person taking you kukutumia? Sijui kama unaningama.
Nishakushika.
Yeah, so unajua tofauti as in inafika hadi wapi?
Let me tell you something. I talked about two people, general and soldier, right?
Yeah.
I hope you know soldiers don't have opinions.
For shit about fun.
Yeah, so if you're using me, enjoy yourself. But I'm sure I'm going to show up. So you're using me, fantastic. I will show up because the mindset of poverty is I'm thinking about you and that's the problem. Think about yourself. Think about yourself. So you have to gamify it. For instance, this might sound very funny. So I was a bouncer at some point.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry.
Wow. You really had that humility.
I was a bouncer and the problem is I was deeply spiritual. So the work I was doing was in direct conflict with my spirituality. So what did I do? I gamified it by saying, I will do this bouncing job as long as I'm memorizing scripture. So I'm not thinking about the disadvantage of the job. Me, I'm in the hustle, baby. You, if you are using me, best of luck. It's up to you.
It's up to you.
And then
to
the
be
thing
my
is,
turn.
if I'm in a room and I think you're using me, that you will feel the energy. Yeah. It has to be like somebody's like, what kind of naive person is this? Like I'm just telling them anything and they're doing it. You know what happens? When I get an opportunity, who will I call? The guy looked like I was using. Let me tell you, loyalty has a reward that hard work cannot outcompete. You are joking with loyalty. Boss, you do not Can I give you an example?
Please do.
A story is told of Farouk Kibet. He says, it is, I think our president who said it, that they were contesting on something, Farouk lost. Farouk came and hugged him and said, I've lost, I accept. But from today henceforth, I'm your brother, I am serving you. And he served him for many years. So people are shouting about him right now. But this man has been loyal to it. I'm not attacking personalities. I'm just focusing on the essence. That loyalty now has released a reward that is disproportional. In fact, I saw one video, I don't know if it's true, if it's not. Right? Where they were saying, Ati, who does this Farouk think he is? He's even arranging ministers. He's deciding who should come and meet who. Loyalty. It's loyalty, baby. So you are better off posturing yourself. You'll quickly begin to see that the person you must become to network effectively is the person you want to network with. Because usually our dream is you will introduce me to Oscar Sudi because everybody's saying they want to be introduced to Oscar Sudi. And then you think that when you meet Oscar Sudi, the first thing he'll tell you, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Can I buy for you a car? Can I buy for you a house? Can I take you for holiday? That's what you think.
Yeah.
So you should now become that person. So see, I'm now in the meeting. What can I do to help? I've done a research of your portfolio. We can rebalance your portfolio over here. I've done research of your security. This is how your security is. You have to give more value than you are taking. Then at some point, compound interest takes force.
Roles reverse.
Even in the Bible, the story of Joseph, the story of Joseph when he was taken.
Oh, you're like,
by his
you
brother.
must know this, Joseph. You're like, I hope you know Joseph.
Yes. So
Yes.
it shows that it took him to be, even if he knew what the Pharaoh was doing was not okay, he still was there. And later on, he had more power than his brother.
Look at it.
Yeah. So it actually makes so much sense.
100%. Again, there is huge rejection for a disloyal person. Do you know what Solomon says about disloyalty? He says a disloyal brother is like a joint out of foot in the day of trouble. Think about it. Tuko Gen Z maandamano, which I was in, right? And then now you want to run. But as you're running, your joint is out of place. It is the most painful and inconveniencing thing ever.
Yeah.
Then he uses another simile. He said it's like a broken tooth. That's what disloyalty is. That you are biting nyamachoma. Do you know, it doesn't matter how good that nyamachoma was.
You want.
Once the tooth is broken, you bite in and it breaks. It's over. It is over forever. So you network. I talk about networking. Your network, people say your network is your net worth. You got it wrong, baby. It is not. That's a selfish position. Your net worth is your network's net worth. That means when I see a big door, I come and say, Kalala, you know what? I found Glitch Africa. I think they like your personality.
Yeah.
I won't be there saying, guys, I'm now the guy. And then you ask him, hey, Banaba, I can see nowadays you're producing good videos. They're clean, they're so edited. And then I ask you, how you do? You ask me, how you doing? And I say, I've been working hard. You see what I'm talking about? So it has to be your breakthrough is your community's breakthrough. It has to be your victory is your community's. So when your net worth is your network's net worth, that is the day you will see your network advantage. You're not even ready for network advantage. I am so bitter about the relationships I've lost. For instance, and it's funny that we came here. So yesterday I'm going to BMW. We're going to look at the new X7, right?
For yourself.
Just say
you know we are in this place. So now we go. I was with a colleague of mine.
Yeah.
We're evaluating. Then I meet this guy who we used to work with, right? And he's a guy who conflict entered because I didn't handle the relationship correctly. So this is a guy who buys his boys. You know, those boys of we are going out. You're the one who's bringing the liquor. You're the one who's bringing the flowers. You know, everybody's bringing something.
Yeah.
He's buying them, X3s, brand new, water yacht, all these things. He's a guy who the proposals I'm writing right now, I don't need to write anything, but I mishandled that relationship. So we just met, greeted me with distaste and went. And I'm like, this is actually a relationship I messed myself looking. And if I told you how that relationship ended, it's not all of even $10,000. So you crucified millions of possibilities. Leave that one. This is a guy who, at his word, he gets loans out of banks. Let me tell you, baby, you're not yet wealthy if you're still signing bank forms. I have seen in this market people who are able to make banks move without signing forms. This is a guy who can do that for you. You know, sometimes you don't need capital, you need access.
Yeah.
This is a guy who has enough relationship access to put you in any door. In fact, as a matter of fact, you are always brainstorming. What can I do to who? Because whichever the who is, he'll open that door for you.
Yeah.
Then I sabotage the door because of $10K. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Do you regret? Is that feeling regret, or is it learning and understanding?
It is regret. You know, this generation, our generation, I like talking about regret. It is regret.
Yeah.
It is, I should have handled it better. I would have been much further right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is
Kali.
Thank you for
proper
sharing that.
regret. Like regret, you're like, man,
Damn.
I didn't handle it correctly.
Yeah.
One of the biggest blessings you can ever have is the gift of consequence, because it will help you adjust sail quickly.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, every action has a corresponding consequence, and never try to explain the confidence. Take the consequence and learn your lessons.
Yeah.
I've already explained to you, I have zero reason even living where I'm living, and where I'm living is an aspiration for many people.
For sure.
I have zero. I don't even have any reason. I should be moving in helicopters. One for me and the other one for my cat, right? But I still have another 10 years, 15 years in the hustle because of 3-4 people that I didn't handle well.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this black man you're seeing here, I'm Django guy. I was seated with the president of an East African country advising on mining strategy. Let me tell you, our imposter syndrome that time was digesting me. But the pain of poverty kept me moving, right? Right now, the people who help me, they won't even pick my call. Because one day, we were going into a big procurement. I decided to side with the competition at informing the competition. In the end, so they can be a $50K so that to sabotage these guys because I didn't like the revenue share they're giving me. And of course, all these things, they always come out. Actually, by then, let me tell you, whatever you're doing will just come out.
Yeah.
Now, I've lost access to I used to do defense industry. A big part of my defense industry stuff, I can't do it because the people who were my breakthrough, I mishandled them.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But there's always faith, hope.
Mm.
You're feeling sorry for him.
No, because you see, you know how
I gotta go. Like you guys, where you have put me now, I have to, in my suit, I have to be in a border. That's the only way I'll reach where I'm going.
No,
I'm going
thank
to
you
speak.
very much for coming through.
Thank you so
Very insightful conversation. Final words for our people?
So here's the final words. It's very easy to become rich, but it's also very difficult to become rich. Okay. That you have embarked on a journey does not mean you'll arrive. So many of us are yet to embark. Are you on your wealth? Have you started? Do you have a money game plan in place? Do you have a wealth blueprint that you're working towards? I promise you, if once the day you concretize your money game plan, your whole life will take shape.
Yeah.
Very quickly. Discipline will come. All these excesses will come. Your desire to impress us on Instagram will die immediately. Because I'll be sitting, like right now, I'm seated here. I'm seeing my house with 3 swimming pools. You know, my 50 workers, one massaging the dog, the other, all these kinds of things. And that vision is so clear. If I tell you how old this suit is, you won't even believe it. It's just that it's good quality. I'm not interested in buying any clothes. And if there's somebody who would buy clothes, there's so many clothes I bought, wore once, gave away because I'm rich. I have the money in the bank account. It's stupid for rubbish. So my parting shot would be, get your money game plan correct and then start pursuing today, right? Those calls are calls for freedom.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
very
much.
man.
Guys, I'm just requesting, please invite me again, even if it's just to sit around here, because if you don't, I'll think I offended you guys.
No. What shoe size are you?
45, why?
I need those Adidas you're talking about.
But you're 45 as well.
All right, bro, 45.
Hey, you know what they say about big foot, eh?
Yes. Big socks.